Hello. Happy Friday, I think. Happy Friday. Yeah, my god, it is Friday. I wasn't sure for a second. Oh my god, it's been a week. It's been a year. Holy damn. Hello Nin. Congrats on first. Hello Trace. So thank you for the 3 stream watch streak, Nin. Hello Nue. Hi. Hope you're doing good today. Hello Irom. Hello Austin. Hello Amadis. It be Friday. It do be. Oh my god, everyone is waving. Why are you making me wave? Hello Rising. It's still February. Still? Still, it feels like the end of the year. Yes, hello. Do you like seeing the inside of my hand that much? Hello, Ayo. Yes, we'll keep the hand up today, I suppose. I just woke up from a not very long nap. I'm very tired. I came home, I ate, and I slept. No, that's not true. I did try to read. The 4th volume of The Empty Box. I did not finish reading it because I fell asleep, obviously. And like, I woke up 5 minutes before I was supposed to start the stream. But I made it! I'm here! I only got here a few minutes late. Not that bad. We just got to February. No! I want it to be over. We need to restart. All of my good habits died off after 2 weeks of January. I needed to come back. I need to redo it, okay? I need to try it again. I'm already tired of it. It's cold. Yeah, it is cold. Like today. Oh my god, I need to turn off the Higurashi music. It's driving me insane. I'm gonna go mad. I'm sorry. Oh, way better. Today when I went to work, it was like 0 degrees and I thought that was pretty warm. And now it's like, for some reason now it's like 2? No, it's 1 degree Celsius now. But somehow it feels colder. I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed. Maybe because I was in a hurry this morning. But I went to watch the Return to Silent Hill movie yesterday, and that was an experience. That was kind of crazy. Crazy mediocre is what it ended up being, unfortunately. I totally thought it was gonna be good after I watched the first half of it, and then the second half came around and I was like, oh wait, actually this kind of sucks. Yeah, the movie is insane. I feel like, okay, they clearly were like mixing the game and like new material in the first half, but I didn't think it was that bad. And then, you know, halfway through the movie, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then it just got worse from there. And I'm like, huh? Hello? What happened? It was so weird. I don't want to spoil anyone. I already wrote down my thoughts in the Discord server, but damn, that was a wild ride. That was kind of crazy. I have not stopped thinking about the movie since I watched it though, so I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. It's a thing. So, yeah. They had us in the first half pretty much. Like, the first half wasn't amazing or anything, but it was definitely better than, you know, what I had expected, you know, reading the reviews. But then after watching the other half, I was like, oh, okay, I can see why people hate this. I can see why the reviews for it are so bad. I get it. I understand. It was an experience. It was, I don't regret having gone to the cinema to watch it, but, yeah, I don't know. I would not say that it was a good movie. It was a good movie experience, though. Even though the jump scares made me literally poop my pants, I was screaming a bit too loudly in the cinema. And no one else got scared but me. And it was a little embarrassing, but I survived. I only screamed twice. It was okay. Hello, Zero. Hi. What movie? The Return to Silent Hill movie. Yes. Apparently, the first movie is okay. It's apparently also not great, but it's also not the worst thing. And some people even like it, apparently. So, maybe I'll watch that one too, even though it was directed by the same person. So my hopes are very low for that, okay? Why is there an owl screeching while I'm trying to enjoy this movie? Exactly. But yeah, I had a good time. It was good. They only showed the movie at an awful time. I think it started at 9 p.m. So it went until 11:15. And that was pretty late. I got home at like 12 something a.m. It was very late. It was a long drive, but it was worth it. Unfortunately, they didn't show the movie anywhere closer to me. I had to drive quite long to a place that was actually showing the movie in English because I didn't want to watch it in German because I think I would have lost my mind entirely. The second movie was a different director. She made some also wild choices. Oh, damn. I don't know. I don't mind watching bad movies. It's also very subjective, right? I know a lot of people love Cabin in the Woods, for example. I personally hated that movie. I thought that movie was not good. But, you know, I still enjoyed the experience of watching the movie. A lot of people love that movie. So now I'm like, maybe I should watch the other Silent Hill movies just for fun, just to see what it's like. But yeah, that was a cool experience. Just wish I could have stayed there longer because it was in a very cool mall actually, and I kind of wanted to take a look around. But you know, at 11:15 p.m. everything is already closed, so not much to do there at that time. But it was very cool. It looked very modern, very nice. I'm used to very not great looking malls, so that was a cool experience regardless. I enjoy the Silent Hill movies because they aren't great but fun to watch. Yeah, see? Like, I had a blast watching that movie yesterday, even though it was kind of bad. It was a really good movie experience. But yeah, we're gonna watch Iron Lung this weekend as well. Because, you know, I heard actually good things about that movie. So after a mediocre movie, probably gonna watch a better movie. Markiplier. Mark. It's gonna be good. I heard that there's a lot of blood in that movie. I know nothing about the movie except that it's based on a game with the same name, apparently. But yeah, I know nothing of movies, me neither. I barely know any movies, but you know, the ones that I do know were enjoyable to watch. I can't remember a single movie that I watched where I was like, oh, never mind. There's one movie. I'm not gonna name it. I think people are gonna hate me if I do it. I did name it at some point, but it's so popular and people love it so much that if I say it here, I might get slaughtered. I heard that theaters kept getting called to show it. That's all I know. I think, yeah, it's supposed to be really good. It was pretty successful. Best movies, Jurassic Park. I used to love Jurassic Park movies. It's a safe space streamer. Is my own stream a safe space? I don't know if I would say that. I have a feeling people would still kill me. See, I didn't like the Hobbit movies. Where are the not Hobbit ones called? The other ones. Lord of the Rings. I hated all of them. It's not for me, I don't think. It was not for me. But I know people adore them, feel very passionately towards them. I don't like them. I dozed off every single time I tried to watch Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry. It was just too long and too boring. Hello, partners. Hi. 15 stream. Watch streak. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm shaking your hand. I struggle to sit down and watch them. Oh, Ayo, you get me. You get me. You understand. Shaking my own two hands right now, pretending one of them is yours. Wow. They're quite long. I get that. Yeah, but even if they weren't long, I just didn't find them that interesting. I'm sorry. As someone who has never seen the movies, how dare you? Hello, Alice. How dare? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, people do hate some things that I like as well, and that's okay. My favorite movie is Django? Or is it just Django? I don't actually. I think my brother likes the Django movies. Is that what it is? The D is silent. Okay, okay. Django. Yeah, I think my older brother likes them. I don't know nothing about them though, so I can't judge you. I can't judge you. And I'm sure they're great. I've had like this little bag clip on my desk, and now every time that I stream, I'm like playing around with it. Okay, I'm gonna put it away now. It's gone. It's gone. I threw it into my basket. It's gone forever. Whew. Okay, no more touching things and playing around with stuff. We're gonna lock in. Because I don't have anything to talk about. Last time I talked for over an hour. So this time, we're gonna play the game. I already have it open. Look at that. You can hear the game, but I can't. Oh. Alright. There we go. Adjust the volume. That's too loud. That's too little. Okay. There we go. Last time I also forgot my book. I was out of shape. Oh yeah, I went back and I redid the what are these called? The fragments. But I also looked it up, and apparently it doesn't matter if you do the broken ones again. Apparently that still works out fine. But I went back and I redid them so I didn't have any broken fragments, just in case. I was a little afraid that I had messed up, but it is apparently fine. Now I just have to figure out which ones of these we can read after 2 days, which feel like 2 months to me. Hello, Rise. Good time zone. We're doing it today. I went back and I read your opinion on the Silent Hill movie, and I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It was kind of funny to see how you had almost the same opinion as I did. I still like the movie though. Shaking hands. Let me see. What can we do? We don't have Satoko's detailed test results. We don't have discontinuation of Satoko Hojo's dissection plan. 3rd year's curse of Yashiro-sama is required. 3rd year. I think that was... Oh no, I don't remember. Was that... I think that was Rika's parents. That hasn't happened yet. L5 stage patient's dissection is required. Crane carrier must be willing to participate. We don't have that either. Death of construction site managers required hospitalization. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have any of this. We don't have that. We don't have that. Oh, we have the research needs to have hit its first snag. Instructions for the kidnapping operation of the minister's grandson are required. We got like a hint towards that. I don't know if that counts. We can try it. Requesting assistance from a queen. Please, crossing my fingers. Oh my god, it works. It didn't shatter. Hello, Tube. Hi, hi. Hope you're doing good today. Hope your new job is treating you well. That very night, the head of the Furuda family, the priest, gathered his wife and Rika together for a family meeting. In Hinamizawa, it was a tradition for the 3 families to gather and discuss the villagers' issues. Though it was hardly unusual for big families like the Sonozaki family and the Kimiyoshi family to have meetings beforehand to sort out opinions among themselves. However, the Furuda family had lost its branch families, so there were only 3 of them left. Branch families? Interesting. So until that day, they had never had a family meeting at all. What is it? You're being so formal. Is it about the dam construction? The dam was the most important issue in the village at the moment. The wife naturally assumed the priest wanted to talk about the dam. The wife. I like how they don't have names. It's the wife and the priest. Requesting the assistance of a queen. Seems like they need your help, Spook. I wish. Hello, Aeolus. Hi, hi. Hope you're doing good today. For him to gather all of them together like that, it must be a huge decision he had to make. Perhaps he was going to talk about joining the pro-evacuation camp. No, it's not about the dam. But it's about something extremely important which concerns this village, and perhaps all of the ancestors of the villagers too. Yes, I did. I did fix the fragments, but I also read that apparently I didn't have to. You can still read them even if they're shattered, but I didn't want to risk it, so I just redid them. The Furude family had served in the priesthood of Oyashiro-sama, the garden deity of the village, for generations. So for him, the head of the family, to start out that way must be something extremely important. Yet he said it wasn't about the dam, so what could he want to talk about?
私は入り婿だ。
I married into this
だ
family.
から、古出家の本当の血を受け継ぐお前とリカにはよく聞いてほしい。
So I want you and Rika, who carry the true blood of the Furude family, to listen very carefully.
お前たちは普通の人間ではないのだ。
You two aren't normal human beings.
僕はお社様の生まれ変わりなのですよ。
Why is it so funny that she shows up like that? I love it. So I don't know if the mom has like a console sprite. I'm thinking that she doesn't. I'm gonna assume that she doesn't. I'm the reincarnation of Yashiro-sama, right?
リカ、そういうのは口にしてはいけません。
Yeah, she doesn't have a sprite. Rika, you shouldn't say such things.
あなた、そういう話はリカのいないところでしましょう。
Dear, let's talk about things like that without her. I forgot that her mom is kind of a nasty
そ
person.
れでなくても、集会所のお年寄りたちがリカに妙なことばかり吹き込んで。
She's heard enough nonsense from the elderly people at the village hall already.
そのお社様の生まれ変わりというのがどうも本当らしいのだ。
Apparently you can still view the cracked fragments as long as you've read the required fragments before it and progress through the game, but you won't get the bonus cutscene. Oh! Okay. Well, in that case, I'm happy that I redid it. Hello, Solo. Hi. It has been. Well, we're doing good today. Hi. What you just said about her being the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that appears to be true.
は？
What?
少し長い話になる。
It's a rather long story.
二人ともしばらく黙って私の話を聞きなさい。
Please just sit tight and listen to me. The wife had a dumbfounded expression on her face, not knowing what he was going to say, but Rika was completely relaxed, wearing her usual carefree expression. The priest started to talk about his wife. What? I can't read today. The priest started to talk after his wife calmed down. Damn.
この村には大昔からある病気があるのだ。
There's a disease in this village that has been here for many years.
それはこの地にだけある特別な病気、フード病というものらしい。
It's a special disease which only exists here in this area. How did you find out about that?
それにはこの村に住む者が全員かかっている。
Everyone who lives in this village has the disease.
今この村に住んでいる者だけではない。大昔から住んでいたご先祖様たちもみんなずっとこの病気にかかってきたのだ。
Not only the people who live here now, but all the people who ever lived here had the disease.
そんな。だって私たちはみんな普通に生活していますよ。この村だけの病気なんて聞いたこともない。
What? But we're all perfectly healthy. I've never heard of a disease exclusive to this village.
落ち着きなさい。
Calm down.
その病気はな、この村にいる限り何も問題はないのだ。
As long as we're here in the village, the disease won't cause any problems.
この村を出て遠くの地へ行くと発病してしまう。
But once you move away from this village, that's when it starts to act
わ
out.
かるか？
Do you understand?
わかるわけないでしょ。何のことだかさっぱり。
How can you expect me to understand such a thing? I have no idea what you're talking about.
お社様のたたりと同じなのです。
It's the same as the curse of Yashiro-sama. Rika said it so calmly while her mother became frustrated.
そうだ。この村から離れるとたたりがあるのと同じなのだ。
That's right. They say that when you leave this village, you're cursed. It's just like that.
つまりお社様のたたりだとご先祖様たちが代々恐れてきたのはこの村だけにしかない風土病のせいだったのだ。
In other words, the curse of Yashiro-sama, which our ancestors have feared for generations, is actually a disease that only exists in this village.
そんなことあるわけないです。だって私たちだって時には村を離れることもあるじゃないですか。村の人だって仕事で遠くへ出かける人だっているし、海外に出かける人だって。
How could that be possible? We've left the village before, other villagers too. Some have gone on business trips, and some even traveled to foreign countries.
うん。
True.
それは長い長い時間を経て病気が徐々に弱まってきたかららしい。
But that's probably because the disease has weakened over a long
だ
time.
からこのままさらに長い時間をかければ消えてなくなってしまうものだったのだ。
So, it was going to disappear eventually.
だがそれがダム戦争のせいでおかしくなったらしい。
But the business with the dam disrupted that process.
ダム戦争で今村中が熱に浮かされたように興奮している状態にあるのはみんなも分かっているだろう。そういう興奮状態や情緒不安定な状態はこの病気を悪化させてしまうらしいのだ。
Everyone knew that during the dam war, the entire village was aflame with agitation. Such excitement and emotional instability makes the disease stronger.
よく話がわかりませんけど。
What fragments have you read so far? That's a good question. I read the one about Satoko having probably murdered her parents. About Satoko, having dealt with PTSD for quite some time, which is probably why she killed her, then parents. I read the one with Takano and Tomitaka on basically their first date. And the rest I can't remember right now. I still don't know what you're trying to
つ
say.
まりこの大昔からタタリだと呼んできたものはすべてその病気の仕業だとおっしゃるんですね。
What we thought was a curse all this time was actually caused by the disease?
そうだ。
That's right.
お社様の作った決まりはすべてこの病気から村人を守るための決まりだったのだ。
All the rules Oyashiro-sama came up with were to protect the villagers from the disease.
そんな、それじゃお社様は神様ではなく病気が正体なんですか？そんなこと古出家代々のご先祖様たちに説明できますか？
No way. Then Oyashiro-sama's actually a disease? Not a god? How could that be? How can I explain that to the Furude family ancestors?
落ち着きなさい。お社様の信仰は変わらない。お社様がひなみ沢を見守ってくださることに何の変わりもない。
Calm down. The faith in Oyashiro-sama won't change. The fact that Oyashiro-sama is watching over Hinamizawa will remain the same.
お社様のたたりを再現する病気がこの村には大昔からあったということ。それだけなんだ。
It just means the disease producing Oyashiro-sama's curse was in this village since long ago. That's all.
そんなのは認められません。そんなこと亡くなった先代や先々代に説明できますか？古出家数百年の伝統に対する、いえ
I won't accept that. How can I explain that to our ancestors? This is a desecration of the Furude family's age-old traditions. Aren't they already dead? I mean, I guess maybe she talks to the dead? I'm not sure. I don't think they have any alive ancestors. So I don't think it really matters in the end.
お社様に対する冒涜です。
No, this is a desecration of Oyashiro-sama.
そんなことをあなたに吹き込んだのは誰ですか？
Who told you such a thing?
失礼極まりない。
This isn't acceptable.
第一、そんな変な病気が実在するという証拠があるんですか？
In the first place, can you prove such a disease actually exists?
ある。
I can.
それはどんな？
What kind of proof?
誰が？
Who gave it to you?
厚生省と国立感染症予防研究所の方からだ。病原体もすでに特定され、現在治療方法などを研究している最中だという。
The people from the Ministry of Health and the National Institute of Infectious Disease Prevention, they've already found the pathogen and they're searching for a cure right now.
先週実際にその資料や標本などを見せてもらった。厚生省の方はこの病気をひなみ沢症候群と呼んでいるらしい。
I saw the documents and the samples last week. The people at the Ministry of Health call it Hinamizawa syndrome. I guess now we know why Rika knows. But why did they tell Rika's dad? I have no idea why they would tell him. Maybe so they can get the okay from him to test on Rika?
そんな。
No way.
ひなみ沢症候群は普通に生活している分には何も影響のない。だが、
Oh.
ひなみ沢を遠く離れたり、精神や情緒が不安定になったりすると発病しやすくなるという。
As long as you lead a normal life, the syndrome is harmless, but once you go far from Hinamizawa or if you become emotionally unstable, it's easy for the disease to manifest itself.
発病すると妄想などに取りつかれ、最悪の場合異常行動に出ることもあるらしい。
When the disease acts out, you can be possessed by your own delusions, and in the worst case scenario, you can go mad.
この病気は戦争中に発見されたんだそうだ。
They discovered this disease during the war.
戦地でひなみ沢の兵隊だけ異常な病気を起こすことがあるのに、偉い学者の先生が気がついて、研究がずっと進められてきたんだという。
A distinguished scholar noticed that only the soldiers from Hinamizawa came down with an abnormal disease, and he has been researching it all these years. I like how they call him a distinguished scholar. He's already getting recognition.
その辺の話はだいぶ詳しくしてもらったんだが、難しい内容だったので、私の口からはこれ以上うまく説明できん。
They explained some details of this research, but I'm sorry. They're too complicated for me to explain.
もし私の説明では納得できんというなら、お前も直接話を聞いてみればいい。
If you don't believe what I'm saying, why don't you go listen to them yourself?
私だって最初は何をバカなことを、お社様を冒涜する気かと憤慨していたのだから。
At first I was, indignant? I hope that's how you say it, too. Wondering how they dared to blaspheme? Oh my god. Oyashiro-sama and spout such nonsense. Now I'm curious. Blaspheme? Is that an actual word? I mean, I know what blasphemous means, but like, blaspheme? That's a word as well? Blaspheme. Oh yeah, apparently blaspheme is a word. Different tense of blasphemy. I have never heard anyone say that. Indignant. I can guess what it means, but... Indignation is a complex and discrete emotion that is triggered by social emotions and social environments. Feeling involving anger mingled with contempt or disgust. Okay.
その病気を研究するために入江診療所が作られたというんだ。
The Irie Clinic was built to study the
あ
syndrome.
そこは表向きはただの診療所ということになっているが、実際は病気を調べるための隠し研究所らしい。
It appears to be just a clinic on the outside, but it's actually a secret research center for studying the syndrome. He's taking it in stride. He does not really care at all. Maybe he already processed it before, going to his family to talk about it, but he doesn't seem bothered by this anymore, at least. This is truly blasphemy, but oh my god.
秘密で研究しているなんてうさんくさいじゃないですか。
Secret research? That's ridiculous.
それも厚生省がやっていることなら堂々とやればいいじゃないですか。
If it's actually backed by the Ministry of Health, why aren't they doing it out in the open?
いや、そうはいかんらしい。
Well, I guess they can't.
この病気の実態を把握しないまま存在するという事実だけが不十分な知識で広まってしまったら、病気を持っている人たちはもちろん無関係の人々も勘違いした差別を受けることになる。
For example, think about leprosy victims who were misunderstood and exiled. They are still misunderstood and discriminated against, even today, in fact.
ひなみ沢の人間は皆怪しげな病気にかかっていて、そのせいでとんでもないことをするかもしれないなどという噂が日本中に知れ渡ったら大変だ。
If the whole country finds out about this and thinks that everyone in Hinamizawa who has contracted this weird disease can go mad at any moment, it'll turn into chaos.
厚生省もそのことを心配していて、この病気については厳重に伏せた上で治療を目指すらしい。
The Ministry of Health has taken that into consideration and is working on developing a cure while keeping the disease a secret.
勘違いするな。私たちを見せ物にするというんじゃないぞ。
Don't get me wrong, though. They aren't trying to put us on display or anything.
この病気を根絶させ、この村を 病気から解放しようとしているのだ。
They are trying to eliminate this disease and free this village from it. I'm sure that was Takano's plan somewhere along the road, but that has clearly changed.
自給自足ができていた大昔ならともかく、現代では村から一歩も出ずに生活など成り立たん。
It was a different story long ago when we supported ourselves, but nowadays it's impossible not to leave the village.
村から出るだけで発病するかもしれない病気など、村人にとってどれほど危険なものかわかるだろ。
If a simple act of leaving the village can trigger the disease, you realize how dangerous it is for the villagers, right?
繰り返しになるが、昨今反ダム戦争で村全体が強い興奮状態にあって、ひなみ沢症候群にとって非常に良くない状態にあるらしい。
I'm repeating myself now, but in the recent dam protests, the whole village entered a strong, excited state, which is very bad for the Hinamizawa syndrome.
もし村人がおかしくなって大変なことをしたら、きっとマスコミがパシャパシャでいっぱいなのです。
She says it's so cute. If some villagers go crazy and do something horrible, it'll be all over the media.
そうだ。そうなったからでは手遅れなのだ。
That's right. If that happens, it'll be too late.
そんないきなり言われても信用できませんわ。本当に相手は国の人？変な詐欺に騙されてるんじゃないですか？
But how can I believe this? Are you sure we're dealing with people from the government? Are you sure you aren't being tricked?
信用できんのも無理はない。先方は研究所はいつでも見に来ていいと言っている。私はもう見せてもらっているが、あれは詐欺とかそういうレベルではない。
I don't blame you for not being able to believe it. They said we can come take a look at their facility anytime. I've seen it before, and I know that no mere fraud could have set up something like that.
ゴングラの大病院でもあんな大掛かりな設備はないぞ。お前も私の話に納得できないなら、研究所で詳しい話を聞かせてもらうといい。
Even the big hospitals in Gogura don't have such large-scale equipment. If you can't believe what I just told you, you should go to the research center yourself and ask questions.
私よりもっと詳しく説明してくれるだろ
They can explain it better than I
う。
can.
向こうは研究所の説明でも納得できないなら、東京の国立研究所で説明してもいいし、厚生省の本庁舎で直接説明してもいいと言っている。
They said if their explanation isn't good enough, they can explain it to you at the National Research Institute in Tokyo, or even at the Ministry of Health's main office. Wow.
でも信じる信じないは別にして、それが私たちにどういう関係があるんです？
Whether I believe it or not, how are we related to that?
古出家は代々お社様の血を受け継ぐと言われている。
It is said that the Furuda family inherited the blood of Oyashiro-sama.
そして8代続いて女子が生まれれば、その8代目はお社様の生まれ変わりであるとも。
And it is also said that if a girl was born for 8 continuous generations, that the 8th generation girl would be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama.
み
Meep.
そうですわ。私が7代目、リカが8代目。でもそれとその病気に何の関係があるというんです？
That's right. I'm the 7th, and Rika is the 8th generation. But what does that have to do with the disease?
このひなみ沢症候群という病気はある種の寄生虫によるらしい。虫といってもものすごく小さい。人の目には決して見えんくらいに。
This Hinamizawa syndrome is caused by a type of parasite, although they're very tiny. You can't even see them with a naked eye.
その虫たちには親分格がいるというのだ。
They say there is a sort of leader among these parasites. And you're looking right at her.
まさかそれがフルデ家だとおっしゃるんですか？
Are you saying that's the foot of the family?
その親分格の寄生虫は代々古出家の直系だけに受け継がれるらしい。
It appears that the leader of these parasites is passed down through the generations only by people with a direct bloodline to the Furuda family.
つまり先代はお前、今は理科だ。
In other words, in the previous generation it was you, and now it's Rika.
み
Why does she look so happy?
バ そんな話やっぱりおかしいですわ。大体ですね、寄生虫なんてそんな気持ち悪いもの。
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would it be something as disgusting as parasites in the first place?
だから落ち着きなさい。私では説明が下手だ。専門の人に説明を受けなさい。そして彼らが言うには、この病気の治療を研究するためには親分核の研究が不可欠だというのだ。
Calm down. I'm not good at explaining things. Please have the experts explain it to you. According to them, studying this parasite leader is necessary in order to research the disease.
嫌です。そんな怪しげな研究まっぴらごめんですし、リカだってそんな研究には関わらせません。
No, I won't have anything to do with such suspicious research, and Rika won't either.
だから落ち着きなさいというのに。彼らの研究では、ひなみ沢症候群は村から離れると発病するのではなく、お前も小さかった頃、村人から陣痛力があると言われていたことがあるだろ。
I'm telling you to calm down. They think that Hinamizawa syndrome acts out when separated from the parasite leader, not the village itself. When you were little, do you remember villagers telling you that you had psychic powers? Psychic powers?
遠方に出かけ、片頭痛などにかかったお年寄りがお前に払ってもらうとたちまち頭痛が消えたという陣痛力。
You were able to cure elderly people who got migraines after taking a long trip. Oh, I guess that could be interpreted as psychic powers. But yeah, it's just a matter of them, returning to the queen bee, so to say. Queen parasite.
それこそが親分核の証拠でもあるというのだ。
That's the proof that you were carrying the parasite leader.
フルデの血には発病者を救う力がある。
The foot of the bloodline has the power to cure people with a disease.
それを研究するのは治療薬を見つけるためにもとても重要なことなのだそうだ。
To discover a cure, it's extremely important that we participate in the research.
僕を研究すると村のみんなが助かるのですか？
If they study me, will the villagers be saved?
先方はそう言っている。
That's what they say.
その病気は村の全員がかかっているのですか？僕もみんなもさとこも
And all the villagers are infected? Me? Everyone else? Satoko too?
うん。村に住む人間全員だけでなく、沖宮に住む親類なども全て含むそうだ。
Yes, not only the people who live in the village, but their relatives in Okinomiya too.
多分何千人という規模になるだろう。
We're talking thousands of people.
それだけの大変な病気だから、厚生省がわざわざたくさんの予算を投じて専門の研究所を作ってくれたのだ。
That's why the Ministry of Health spent so much money to build a specialized research center. I kind of wonder how they figured out the, leader parasite, because, how did they research that? I mean, I guess by, examining live patients, like the L5 patients, they must have been able to, look at the parasites with all the equipment that they had and somehow figure out their anatomy, how they work, maybe? Maybe they were like, oh, these behave similar to other insects / parasites that have like a leader type thing. Psychic parasites. I guess that does end up being the case.
私は反対です。リカをそんな怪しげな研究の生贄にするだなんて。
I object. How can you let Rika be a sacrifice for something that suspicious? I like that she's, making it seem like she's really worried about her, but didn't we, learn from Rika herself that, her mom kind of hated her guts?
僕はいいのですよ。僕が生贄でさとこが助かるなら全然平気なのです。
I don't mind. If Satoko can be saved, I don't mind being a sacrifice. I really don't.
リカは黙っていなさい。とにかく絶対反対です。あなたにそんな妙なことを吹き込んだ人たちには私が直接会ってはっきりとお断りをします。リカを変な実験で殺されてたまるものですか？
You be quiet, Rika. I absolutely refuse. I'll go talk to them and refuse them directly. I won't let them kill Rika in some crazy experiment.
大体リカはフルデ家のたった一人の後継ぎなんですよ。
Besides, Rika is the one and only heir of the Furuta family.
もしものことがあれば フルデの血はここで絶えてしまうかもしれないじゃないですか。
What if something happens to her? The food of the family will die right there. Don't you see that?
あなたはもっとですね、フルデの家のことを考えていただかないと。
You need to think more about our family.
そんなだから村の人たちに日和見主義とかなんとか言われて、
That's why the villagers call you an opportunist.
だいたいおかしいじゃないですか。
After all, don't you think it's odd?
建設省は村をダムに沈める、厚生省は村の病気を治す。
After all, don't you think it's odd? The Ministry of Construction is trying to submerge the village and the Ministry of Health is trying to cure disease.
何が何だかさっぱりわからないです。
What in the world is going on?
厚生省はこの病気は環境の変化で大変発病しやすいと警告していて、建設庁に対しダム計画を中止するよう働きかけてくれているそうだ。
The Ministry of Health has warned that this disease could be triggered by a change in environment, so they're actually trying to have the Ministry of Construction stop the damn construction plan.
だからお前も研究所を見せてもらいなさい。
You really should go to the research center.
あれだけの大設備をダム湖に沈むかもしれない土地に建てるわけがない。
Why would they build such a huge facility in a location that could be submerged? I wonder if this is like before she started looping, or if this is, 1,000-year-old Rika right now. Rika let out a big yawn. It was long past bedtime for a little girl like her.
僕はもう寝ますです。父さん、僕はいつでも協力するとその人たちに言っておいてくださいなのです。
I'm going to bed now. Dad, please let them know I'm going to participate, okay?
リカ、そんなことお母さんに断りなく勝手に決めちゃいけません。リカ、待ちなさい、リカ。
Rika, you can't make such a decision without consulting me. Rika, wait! Rika! Well, she makes her own decisions now. Okay, so technically, the father has now been called an opportunist. So I'm guessing that we fulfill that requirement as well. I'm gonna start saving after after I complete a fragment because I'm scared of breaking them. Which one was it with the... Wah. This one. Because mother's suspicion is required, so technically the third sacrifice should be readable for us. If I remember correctly, Rika has said that she's seen Hanyu since birth. So maybe this is during one of the loops. Maybe. I mean, it makes sense. Her mother started hating her because of the way that she acted, because she had this weird thing where she would know how to do things even if she refused to teach her. Because, Hanyu would teach her. So, since the mother was kind of hostile a little bit, I don't know if it was like her being overly protective or if she's really just hostile towards Rika, but she was acting a little bit weird. Agrees to be a test subject, refuses to elaborate, takes a nap. She's my idol. Well, good thing I saved. Apparently, maybe that Rika's mom has to be the one under suspicion. Am I misunderstanding that, maybe? God, I can't believe I'm safe scumming in Higurashi. Because mother's suspicion is required. Well, that's kind of already what's happening, isn't it? I guess not. I guess not. Hello, Derek. Welcome in. Hope you're doing good today. Queen Carrier must be willing to participate. Well, this one we should have met all the conditions for. Research is going well.
フルデさん、お待たせしました。
Furuda-san, thank you for waiting.
今、最後の検査を終えたところです。
We just finished the last test.
もうすぐ戻ってくると思います。
She'll be back soon.
娘が村のために役に立てばいいのですが。
I hope she's able to help.
とんでもない。
Of course.
リカさんの協力は村を救うことにもなります。
Rika-san will help the whole village.
おかげでようやく治療方法にも目処がついてきたところです。
I think we'll be able to come up with a treatment soon.
仕組みはまだ調べているところですが、リカさんの存在がやはり村人にとってとても大切なものであることが分かってきました。
We're still looking into the structure, but we're finding out how important Rika-san is to the villagers.
レベルの進んでしまった一般感染者は自力ではそのレベルを下げて症状を安定させるのが非常に困難です。ですが女王感染者に接近することで脳内にある種の物質が作られることが分かっています。
People with more serious conditions can't stabilize themselves, but we found out if they get close to the queen carrier, they generate some kind of substance in their brain. Happiness? Where is the hormone for that called? Like, maybe that's not what, they're talking about. Is it serotonin? God, I don't know what the hormones are called anymore.
その物質には鎮静効果があり、また進んでしまった症状のレベルを抑え、回復させる力もあるようなのです。
Yeah, I think it's serotonin. Yeah, it came to mind for me as well. Maybe we're sharing that brain cell. Maybe it's correct. I believe in us. This substance has a calming effect, and it seems to have the power to bring their symptoms down.
この物質を処方できるようになれば、治療の強力な決め手となるでしょう。
If we can produce this substance, it'll end up making a powerful treatment.
そうですか。
Produce this substance. It won't end up being like a human farm, right? Where they open up the patients that produce the substance and just scoop it out of there. That's not how it works, but maybe if it really isn't a hormone, but like a little, I'm imagining like a little gooey jelly that like forms over the part of the brain, and it's like, ooh, we can scrape off the gooey jelly off the brain, the happy jelly. That's what my brain is making out of this.
リカにそのような力が。
I see. Rika has that kind of power. She's so tall.
驚かれるには値しないのでは？
You shouldn't be surprised.
フルデの巫女には荒れた心、鬼を鎮める神通力があると代々伝えられているんではありませんでしたっけ？
People say that maidens of the Furude Shrine have the psychic power to calm both souls and demons, don't they?
私たちが解明しなくても村の数百年にわたる歴史はすでにそれを知っていたわけですわ。
Even before we discovered it, it was already recorded in the history of the last few hundred years.
そうですね。
That's true.
大昔の方の聡明さは、時に現代医学から見ても感心させられます。
I'm impressed with how wise people were back then.
検査が終わったのです。
The tests are all done. Also Meep.
リカ、大変だったな。疲れただろ。これで自動販売機でジュースを買ってきなさい。
Rika, good work. You must be getting tired. Why don't you get this and go get something to drink?
血をいっぱい抜かれたから補給なのです。
They took a lot of my blood, so I need to replenish. Glug glug glug, it's time to drink the juice. Rika took the 100 yen coin that was offered to her and ran out into the hallway.
本当にリカさんの協力のおかげです。彼女が献身的に協力に応じてくれなければ、これほどまでに研究が進むことはありませんでした。
I appreciate Rika-san's help. If she hadn't offered her assistance, our research wouldn't have progressed this far.
リカは自分の友達もその病気にかかっているということを気にしていて、友達のためにも協力したいと常に言っていました。
Rika's very concerned about her friend with the syndrome. She said she wants to help because of her.
どうか先生方、リカの心意気を汲んでやってください。
Doctor, please take Rika's feelings into account.
もちろんです。
Is that how they get Satoko in this? Love this track. It's a good one. This usually plays before everything goes to shit, which is lovely. It's like right before the festival. God, I forgot the name for it. Watanagashi Festival.
毎週日曜日に貴重な時間を割いていただいているのです。必ずや成果にしてみせます。
Of course. We're taking up her precious time every Sunday, so we'll make sure to get to the bottom of this.
今後もリカさんに過酷な実験を強いることがあると思いますが、どうかお許しいただければと思います。
We may have to put her through some rather rough experiments, but I hope you'll understand. You know, at least they got permission from the parents and didn't just grab the child and go. But I do wonder what kind of experiments she actually has to go through. You know, from what we've seen, she only has to, like, answer a couple of questions. Maybe they take some blood and stuff. A parent, yes.
彼女に危害を加えることは絶対にありませんわ。
Will never harm in any way, though.
彼女はとても
Lies.
とても大切な身なのです。
She's such an important person.
何しろ、お社様の生まれ変わりなんですから。
She's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, after all. I wonder if, like, after she found this out, she was like, yup, I'm gonna use her to kill the entire village. Like, because without her, it would be kind of difficult to get this plan of hers working, you know, where she basically poisons the entire village and gets them killed.
大昔の村人はどのようにしてこの病気のことを知り、
I wonder how people back then found out about the syndrome.
古田家にその女王の血が流れていることを知ったのやら。
And how they knew the Furuta family were the descendants of the queen.
ご先祖様たちにはつくづく頭が下がります。
I'm truly impressed.
それで実はまた辛いご協力をお願いしなくてはなりません。
By the way, there's something I have to ask you.
彼女の脳脊髄液の採取の
Oh,
ご許可をいただきたいのです。
I would like to ask you for permission to collect her cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, I have no idea where that fluid is taken from. Cerebrospinal fluid. Where is that? Oh my god. It's... Yeah, okay. Well, like the name suggests, it's like surrounding the brain and spinal cord, apparently. Yikes. Oh, like an AOT. Oh, yeah, you are right. That is exactly like an Attack on Titan. Yeah, oh gosh. Oh no. I mean, I don't know how dangerous that is. Actually, I'm sure he'll explain it. I don't have to look it up.
また場合によっては彼女の頭蓋に閃光を当け直接頭部の中を検査させていただくことになるかもしれません。
Also, there's a chance that we'll have to drill a hole in her skull to examine the inside of her head. Okay, I feel like it would be okay to say no at this point. This is where I would take Rika out. Maybe that's exactly what they end up doing, which is why, you know, both her parents end up dead for mysterious reasons.
頭蓋骨に穴ですか？
A hole in her skull?
もちろん安全性には最大限注意します。
Of course, we'll take every precaution.
リカさんはたった一人しかいない女王感染者なのです。
Rika-san is the one and only queen carrier.
間違っても危害を加えることがないよう私どもで最も安全な方法を模索した上で提案させていただいています。
We'll make sure that she's safe. Her safety is our priority.
もちろん、リカちゃんは女の子ですもの。頭部先行周辺の頭髪には気を使いますので、ただ経過を慎重に見るためにしばらく入院をしてもらうことになりますが。
Of course, since Rika-chan is a girl, we won't shave her entire head. However, we'll have to ask her to stay at the clinic a little longer so we can keep our eyes on her. I think shaving her head is the least of their worries right now. I think it's more so that, you know, she'll have a hole in her skull and, you know, could possibly die. I'm guessing that this isn't something that you just do lightly, taking out some kind of fluid from the spinal cord.
もちろんその間面会謝絶ということはありません。
She can still receive visitors, of course.
検査にもぜひ立ち会ってください。
You're more than welcome to attend the examination.
お父さんが身近におられた方がリカさんも安心するでしょう。
I'm sure she'll be more relaxed to have someone she knows nearby.
その検査はどうしても必要なもので絶対に安全なものなのですか？
Do you really need to perform this examination? Is it really safe?
脳脊髄液の採取も 頭蓋の先行も
Awesome.
どちらも 100% の安全を保証することはできません。
I can't absolutely guarantee her safety for either collecting cerebrospinal fluid or for drilling a hole in her skull.
常に 1% の危険があります。
There's always the off chance something might go wrong. I don't know, it sounds kind of likely that something will go wrong. It's fine, whenever I get thirsty, I just give myself a little stabby stab. You drink your own blood!
またリカさんに身体的あるいは精神的苦痛を与えるでしょう。
You know, drinking your own blood might not be so bad. Probably not the worst thing that you could do. Also, Rika-san may suffer from some physical and emotional discomfort.
いくら重要な検査といえどもご家族の同意なしには行えません。
Even if it's important, we can't perform it without the parents' consent. It's time to kill them!
リカちゃんには実はもう同じ話をしていますわ。
If I heard all of this, I would back out. Yeah, my initial instinct would be like, whoa. Let's take a breather here. Maybe we need to reconsider. Also, hello, Ayume. Hi. Hope we're doing good today. Actually, I've already talked to Rika-chan about it.
リカはなんと
What did she say?
自分は構わないと、それはもうあっけらかんと。
She said that it's fine. Well, you know, Rika's also like 8 years old.
リカさんには危険や苦痛が伴う可能性があることをもちろん十分に説明しています。
I've explained to her the possibility of danger. Again, she's like 8. I don't think she understands, you know, the dangers. She's like 8, even though she's not really 8, but technically she's a kid. They shouldn't just be like, well, we explained it to the 8-year-old. We explained to her the risks of, you know, taking some spinal fluid from her body. Surely she would say no if if she wouldn't feel uncomfortable with the... She wouldn't feel comfortable with the dangers. Yeah. You need Rika to corroborate that alibi because I would not trust Takano's ass. I feel like she wouldn't lie in this situation, but also they shouldn't take an 8-year-old's opinion on what is considered safe for her.
ですがやはり保護者の方の承諾をいただかないわけにはいきません。
But we still need your consent.
リカは自分のことを本当にお社様の生まれ変わりだと信じている時があります。
Sometimes Rika truly believes that she's the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama.
だから村人のために自分の身を捧げるのが自分の義務だと思っているところがあるのかもしれません。
So maybe she feels obligated to sacrifice herself for the villagers.
立派なお子さんだと思います。
What an impressive child.
一応家内とも相談させてください。
Could you please let me talk to my wife?
納得はしてくれているのですが、やはりことがことなので話をしないわけにもいかない。
She understands the situation, but I still need to explain it to her.
ええ、ご家族の同意は不可欠だと思います。
Furu's dad is surprisingly calm about the situation. It's her brain that worries me, true. Her eyes can't fool us. Hello, Flufo. Hi. Hope you're doing good today. Sure, of course.
よくご相談なさってください。
Please talk it over with her.
その検査は病気の根絶のために重要な意味があるのですね。
So this examination is an extremely important step in the process of stamping out the syndrome, right?
はい。
Yes.
ひなみ沢症候群のベールを剥ぐ決定的なものになるでしょう。
It'll solve the mysteries of Hinamizawa syndrome for sure.
決定的なものの第一歩にですわね。
At least it'll be the first step.
すでにご説明しておりますように、女王感染者に万一のことがあった場合、感染コミュニティに致命的な崩壊をもたらす危険性が予見されています。
As I already explained, if something happens to the Queen Carrier, the whole community here may be in danger. Kind of interesting that they're considering doing something so risky in the beginning of their research, because, you know, this is still very early on in their research. It's not like they've been doing this for multiple years already. They've been doing this for, like, what, 2 years at most? It's not like they've made gigantic strides. They've only just started having like live patients that they could examine. I doubt that they have that much data that they could, take this gigantic risk of potentially not only killing Rika, but also killing possibly every other person in the village.
平たく申し上げると、村人全員が突如として末期発症を起こす可能性もあるということです。
In other words, it's possible the whole village could end up with terminal symptoms. She's so happy about this.
急性発症の平均から見て、女王感染者死亡から48時間以内に全感染者が末期発症を起こします。それだけは絶対に防がなくてはなりません。
That's right. According to the studies, within 48 hours of the death of the queen carrier, everyone with the disease will become dangerously sick. We must prevent that from happening, no matter what. Yep. Believe her, I guess. But like, how did they study this? I guess it's not gonna be explained any further than this, but I'd like to know how they studied this and how they got to this conclusion. Kinda interesting.
リカが死ぬようなことがあれば、村中が大パニックに陥って恐ろしいことに。
Something happens to Rika, the whole village will go insane.
はい。それを防ぐのも私たちの役目です。そのために危険を冒さなければならないのはとても皮肉なことですが、根絶のためには避けて通れない道だと思っています。
Yes, it's our job to prevent that. It might seem iconic. Iconic? Yes, iconic as well, but ironic that we have to put your daughter in danger. But this is the only way to stamp out the syndrome.
入江先生、必ずその検査を成功させていただけますか？
Dr. Irie, I hope you'll succeed in that examination.
ですから、医学には 100% や絶対などという。
As I said, there are no guarantees in medicine.
ええ。
Sure. Irie answered with a nod, interrupting Takano's vague response. He's sick of her.
私入江京介が命を懸けて必ずやリカさんを救います。村人も救います。絶対にです。
I will succeed. I'll save Rika-san and the villagers too. I promise.
わかりました。
He seems very determined. Kinda refreshing to see him so strong-willed, I guess.
家内と相談させてください。その上で後日改めてお返事させていただきます。
Okay, I'll talk to my wife. I'll let you know our decision.
はい。よろしくお願いいたします。
Yes, thank you. Evil lady. She's evil. She's insane. After Rika and her father left, Takano started to
ど
laugh.
うしましたか？何か愉快なことでも。
What is it? What's so funny?
いえいえ。患者とご家族から律儀に事前承諾を取られていたのがなんだかおかしくって。
Oh, nothing. I just thought it was amusing to get permission from both the patient and her parents beforehand. You know, if it was all according to her, it would have just been, kill her parents, grab the child, let's go.
リカさんには本来無用の苦痛を強いています。それくらいは最低限の礼儀だと思いまして。
Rika-chan is going through something she doesn't have to. I thought I should as a courtesy.
去年の男も正常な状態にあれば事前承諾を取りたかったところです。
I would have gotten consent from the man last year had he been in a normal condition.
入江所長はここの研究を始められてからずっと罪の意識に苛まれているのではありません？
Are you being tormented with guilt ever since you started your research here?
それはどういう意味ですか？
What do you mean? This type of teasing was normal from Takano, but maybe she had gone a little too far. Irie made it clear how displeased he was to hear that. Think we'll know how this will go? Not well. Kind of a redundant sentence I just wrote there. Well, it's okay.
ひなみ沢症候群の研究は生きた検体を裁くことでしか進められない。
You can only research Hinamizawa syndrome by using living beings.
それが分かってなお、あなたはこの研究を進めることに罪の意識を感じている。
You feel guilty continuing your work because of that.
罪の意識は必要です。
Those guilty feelings are a necessity.
殺人であれ、解剖であれ、相手に死を強いる点で変わりません。私たちはその罪を受け止めてなお、その死を無駄にしないために最大限の努力と研究を重ねなくてはなりません。
Whether it's a murder or dissection, the fact that you're taking someone's life is the same. We have to accept that and at the same time devote ourselves to our research.
ご高説ですわね。
Oh my god, she is so creepy and the music is not helping now, please! Okay, well, there's gonna be an ad break in like a couple of seconds, so we'll get back to Creepy No in just a second. I'll go stretch my legs. My back is hurting a little bit today. Been sitting in the office all day. I'll be right back. Meow, I made it back. I know that the switch to the be right back screen is kind of jarring. I was considering to just leave on the same screen, but also I don't know. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. I used to do that. I used to just literally leave my room and come back after the ad break. But now I stay in the room and I'm just like listening to the music, drinking water. A break from the tension was good, I think. Maybe. Okay, let's keep going.
では入江所長、あなたはこれまで人の脳を切り取ることに何度の事前承諾を取られたというんですの？
That's an extremely impressive theory you have there. Then, Dr. Irie, how many times have you gotten consent before you cut into people's brains? Irie didn't think Takano knew about
あ
that.
なたの人の罪は脳の疾患によるものという独りよがりで、一体何人の患者が事前承諾なく脳を切除されたんですの？
How many brains have you cut up without consent using your selfish theory that people commit crimes due to mental disorders as your excuse?
それは
常識は時代で変わる。
Common sense changes with
当
time.
時は医者が治療をいちいち説明することなどなかったし、事前承諾なんて大したものではなかった。
Back then, doctors didn't need to explain anything or get consent beforehand.
だから当時のことは気にしなくていいんじゃないですかしら。
So I don't think you have to be concerned about the past.
今は倫理上問題があっても、当時は問題なかった。
It'd be a problem now, but it was okay back then.
ならばいいじゃありませんの。
So that's fine.
でもそれに罪を感じているから、リカちゃんやあの男にさえも事前承諾が取りたかった。
But you feel guilty, and that's why you want to get consent from Rika-chan beforehand, and why you wanted to get it from him, right?
それは誤解です。
That's not true.
そもそも治療と解剖では患者
In the first place, the treatment and dissection are...
ねえ坊や。
Listen, boy, oh damn. She's an asshole, but at the same time, she has a point. She's not wrong. She's an ass about it, but she's not wrong. I just kind of wonder, like, why she turns so hostile towards people, you know? Like, this whole episode has been, like, us getting to know her and learning about her backstory, and I just kept thinking that she seemed so normal back then. She seemed rather nice, you know. She wanted to get on people's good sides so that, you know, they would cooperate with her and she would get what she wanted. But now, I don't know if it's the Hinamizawa syndrome affecting her or something like that, but it seems like she's becoming really, really sassy, mean. She's kind of becoming an ass, which good for her, but also why? She hit him with the boy. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I think they're probably the same age too.
あなたが欲しいのは事前承諾という名の免罪符。
Listen, boy, what you want is the stamp of forgiveness known as prior consent,
そうでしょ。
right?
あなたが欲しいのは過去の罪をあがないたいという心を満たすだけの欺瞞、そのためだけの免罪符。
What you want is some stamp of forgiveness, some deception to fill your heart so you can atone for your past sins.
後悔しているならば二度と脳に関わらなければいい。
If you regretted what you've done, then you'd never get involved with brains again.
なのにだらだらと後悔しながらあなたはいつまでも未練がましくこの世界で脳に関わっている。
Yet, you're dragging regrets behind as you continue to deal with brains guilty all the while.
その罪の意識が本物ならあなたはあの時所長就任の話を断ればよかったはず。
If you truly acknowledged your actions as a sin, then you would have refused to accept the appointment as director.
そうでしょう、坊や。
Isn't that right, boy? Boya times two!
とても深いです。
I don't need to listen to this.
私は失礼させていただきます。
Excuse me.
聞きなさい。医学は常にその時代の倫理や価値観との戦いから勝ち取られるの。
You must listen. The field of medicine is constantly won in battles against that era's ethics and social values.
かつて高野先生がひなみ沢症候群の存在を予見した時、その時代の権威たちは自分たちの無知を棚に上げ、その先見性を嘲笑った。
When Dr. Takano discovered the existence of the syndrome, the people in power at the time just disregarded their own ignorance and scoffed at his foresight.
でも病に倒れる直前まで研究を捨てなかったわ。
But he didn't stop researching until he collapsed.
必ず自分がいつか評価される日が来ると信じて、
He believed that someday he'd be acknowledged.
そしてその日が自分の死後であったとしても必ず来ると信じて。
Even if it was after he died, he still believed in it.
それは強い信念と揺らぎのない鉄の意志があるから成し遂げられること。
He could only do that because of how strong his conviction was.
そうでなければ時代の無理解に高野先生は屈していたはず。
If it wasn't for that, he would have given up.
研究はね、意志の力で成し遂げるのよ。
A strong will is what keeps research going.
絶対的に強固な意志だけが結果を紡ぎ出す。
Only the most determined can achieve a result.
でもあなたにはそれがない。
But you don't have
あ
that.
なたは自分の実績を誇るべきか恥じるべきかすら自分で決めかねている臆病者よ。
You're a coward who still can't decide if he should be proud or ashamed of his achievements.
そんな中途半端な覚悟でよくこのような研究所の所長を引き受けられたものね。
How could you accept the position of director with such half-hearted determination?
血塗られた両手をさらに血に浸すことでしか明かせぬ研究だと最初から分かっていたはずなのに。
You knew from the beginning that this research couldn't be brought to fruition without adding further blood to your already stained hands.
否定はしません。
I don't know what to say.
私は中途半端かもしれない。
Maybe I am half-hearted.
ならば所長を辞任なさっては。
Then why don't you resign?
守秘義務は残るでしょうけど、あなたはこれ以上罪の意識に苛まれなくて済むでしょう。
You'll still have the obligation to keep things secret, but at least you won't have to feel guilty anymore.
私にとってあなたはパートナーである以前にクライアントが要求した人事上の駒でしかない。
You may be my partner, but you're also simply a person who was requested by my client.
こうして研究機関が成立した今、あなたの存在はもう重要ではないの。
Now that this research institute is fully developed, you aren't needed.
しかもその上、研究に対する覚悟が足りず、研究のパートナーとしても役立たずなら、あなたは無能の用なしよ。
If you don't even have the necessary determination to do research to begin with, you're an especially useless partner.
私は一人でも研究をやめない。
I'll never quit researching.
どんな罪も後悔も恐れない。
I'm not afraid of guilt or regret.
強固な意志だけが未来を紡ぐ。
My conviction is what will take me to the future.
かつて高野先生が高潔な精神で成し遂げたように、 私もたった一人でも成し遂げてみせる。
Just like Dr. Takano succeeded, I'll succeed alone. Doesn't that kind of go against what she was preaching earlier about, needing to build connections so that you can succeed in the world of medicine and stuff? Hello, Amadis. Hi. It is going well. I had to redo the fragments, because the last time I played, I broke a big amount of them, but I fixed it all, and we're progressing nicely. I'll try to word this well, but I kind of like how Takano is just a large force of will. Yeah, it's like her whole personality now. I kind of like that. But also, she's still Takano. She's still kind of a little bit awful.
立派な決意だと思います。
That's impressive.
ですが、私もあなたに及ばないにしても、わずかの決意があってここへ来ています。
However, though my determination may not come close to yours, I too have a will, and that's why I'm here.
そして、あなたの言う通り、私の手はすでに血にまみれています。
As you said, I already have blood on my hands.
そしてひなみ沢に来て、さらに血に浸しました。
After I arrived in Hinamizawa, they got even bloodier.
だからその責任を全うするまでは、私は逃げることはできません。
So I can't just run from my responsibilities.
相変わらず私は罪を清算できず、苛まれ続けるでしょう。
I'll probably continue to be tormented by my unatoned sins.
でも逃げない。
But I won't run.
必ずひなみ沢症候群の研究を決着させます。
I'll get to the bottom of Hinamizawa syndrome.
それだけがこの研究に命を捧げてくださった方。
That's the least I can do for all the people who gave their lives for this research.
そしてこれから捧げることになるかもしれない方への最後の誠意だと思っています。
And also for those who will give their lives from now on. Idia wore a determined look on his face. He appeared different from even a moment before, when he was baffled by Takano having brought up those painful memories. For a short while, Idia's eyes displayed his strong will, and then he turned
お
around.
そらくリカさんの検査は承諾が取れるでしょう。
We'll probably get consent for Rika-chan's examination,
準備をお願いします。
so please start preparing for it. He makes it sound like even if they don't, they're gonna research it regardless. Hello, Yaya.
ええ、心得ましたわ。
Yes, I understand.
所長。
Director. She's so mocking. They got their consent the following week. How did he convince his wife? We don't know. I like how it's just her boobs in the middle of my screen. Thank you, Rikishi. Why did you make her so tall? She's probably wearing the highest high heels of all time, just so that she can stand with her boobs in the middle of my screen. Alright, let's save over that again. The way she said director is awesome. I love the way that she's written, even though she's awful, awful, awful. But she's a great character, like in the way that she's written. Okay. What do we have? Well, we do have the father being marked as an opportunist, but maybe Rika's mother's suspicion is required. I don't even know what that means. Kosuke Iria's motive to become a doctor is required. The discontinuation of Sadako, well, we don't have that. Have that. Don't have that. Queen Carrier must be willing to participate at a quarry in Yagouchi. I think this one we can do. When researching Hinamizawa syndrome, there's something very important that needs to be discussed first. If something happens to the Queen Carrier, the village will collapse. In his article, my grandfather called it the most dangerous situation. According to my grandfather, if the Queen Carrier dies, all the infected persons will go terminal within 48 hours. Wait. Even the grandfather had figured this out? Damn! He found out a lot about the syndrome. This may sound unbelievable at first, but research on the collapse of past local religions and group suicides around the world should indicate that there is some truth to it. Among all the mysterious incidents around the world, there are some that were caused by parasites controlling entire communities, very similar to Hinamizawa syndrome. Grandfather picked a few cases that are very similar to the syndrome and investigated them. As a result, he confirmed multiple cases of entire communities losing their minds after the death of a religious leader or founder, and finally annihilating themselves. He stated that, on average, it happened within 48 hours. It's clear that infected people are affected by the queen carrier, and the condition of the queen carrier is, in fact, affecting the entire village. Our statistics already proved that on weeks Rika felt sick and visited the clinic, we saw an exceptionally high number of visitors. Rika being sick with a simple cold had a massive impact. If something particularly bad happened to her, we'd be facing a serious situation within 48 hours. That's why the Idiot Institute has to protect Rika Furude, the queen carrier. It's the most important mission of the Hinamizawa Syndrome research project. She's already agreed to help us in our research, but we have to be very careful not to put her in any danger. Also, we have to protect her from anyone who would try to harm her. Her life is equal to the lives of 2,000 villagers. Well, they killed her and they also killed 2,000 villagers. But what if something happens to her by accident? The Idiot Institute must prepare for that situation. That's why I worked on the draft of an emergency manual when the Idiot Institute was first established. It's a precaution in the case the queen carrier dies, or if infected people show acute symptoms due to the death of the queen carrier. This is an emergency procedure which must be followed within 48 hours of the mass occurrence of the acute symptoms. The final measure is to prevent the damage from spreading to nearby areas. The plan uses gas, making it look like a natural disaster. My client, the Alphabet Project, took the responsibility of working out the details of the plan. They are used to dealing with things like nuclear and biological weapons, so they ended up being such a big help. There's no way I could have come up with a plan on my own to execute 2,000 villagers. That is quite fucked up. But you know, I would say that she could come up with it if she wanted to. She's evil enough. Through a dummy company, the Ground STF has secured a close quarry in the Yaguchi region, upstream of Hinamizawa. It's to be the secret storage base for the equipment we'd use in that operation. Equipment that sprays deadly gas that kills people as if they were falling asleep is stored here. In the case of an emergency, a special unit of the Ground STF is to use this equipment to destroy the village. However, preparing for the execution of the villagers itself is politically dangerous. So, if I'm going to insist on them getting the equipment ready, I have to make them understand how dangerous Hinamizawa Syndrome is, and also how urgent the need is to have a contingency plan. I have to prove the need for the plan by showing them enough data, so the files my grandfather kept intact come in quite handy. When the clients read my grandfather's articles about the syndrome, they were surprised to see how catastrophic things could be in the worst-case scenario.
つまり女王である一人の少女に何かがあれば村人2000人以上が全員錯乱するということなのですね。
I was saying the same thing. Yeah, it makes her seem like she's part of a bee colony. Is it? Do you call them a colony? Ant colony? Ant colony is correct. I don't know if the same counts for bees as well. But yeah, basically parasite community, and she's the queen. In other words, if something happens to this girl, the queen carrier, all 2,000 of the villagers will become deranged? Is that what you're saying?
はい。南沢症候群に極めて類似するいくつかのケースでは、集団自殺を示すものが少なくありませんが。
Yes, there have been several cases similar to Hinamizawa syndrome where group suicides took place.
南沢症候群の場合、強い疑心暗鬼や過剰なまでの危機意識から何かの過剰防衛を行う可能性があり、被害は感染者2000人にとどまらないものと推定されます。
In the case of the syndrome, we can easily expect extreme defensive behavior which results from deep paranoia. The result may affect all 2,000 plus carriers.
それらは無政府状態の暴動から始まり、猟奇的なあるいは宗教的終末感にも似た異常な状況を作り出すでしょう。
From there on, we may face abnormal situations involving lawless violence and bizarre religious despondence. I don't know what despondence means. Despondence. Feelings of overwhelming sadness. A sense that life will never get better, hopelessness. Or actual thoughts of killing and then it stops. I'm guessing killing themselves. in the context. make it seem like it's a physically linked hive mind parasite, and Takano seems like she maybe wants to be the new queen. It is definitely like a hive mind kind of situation. Not quite as extreme, you know, as in other media that we have consumed. But, you know, they're affected by how she's doing and, you know, what happens to her. So it does make sense. I don't know if she necessarily wants to be the new queen, though, because she does end up killing everyone. So, you know, there's no one to be a queen over, I guess. She wants to be a god, which, you know, gods are kind of feared. She wants to be scary and evil. She wants to be the villain for everyone who survives.
これに対する事前の鎮圧策を用意しなかった場合、世界の注目を浴びることは避けられません。
We must be ready to face such a situation by having a contingency plan. Otherwise, we'll draw attention from the rest of the world.
また、その猶予は事態発生から48時間しかありません。
We have to remember that we only have 48 hours to respond once it happens.
つまり、いざことが起こったらもう誰にも防げないということですな。
Are you saying that if it happens, there's nothing anyone can do?
感染者全員を48時間以内に全員治療することは不可能なのかね？
Can't you treat everyone within 48 hours?
無理だろう。
That'll be impossible.
それに治療方法すら確立していないし、研究所の規模では村人全員の救済は物理的に不可能だ。
We don't even have a cure, and the research center isn't capable of taking in all the villagers.
しかしこのような恐ろしく珍しい病気があるとは世の中わからんもんですな。
How frightening to realize such a disease actually exists. The world is full of mysteries.
常に最悪の事態に備えることは国防にも通じますし、我々アルファベットプロジェクトの理念でもあります。
Constant vigilance against worst-case scenarios supports our national defense, and is one of the ideas behind the Alphabet Project.
そして使うことが目的なのではなく、備えることそのものが肝要なのです。
Besides, our goal is not to use the plan, but it's vital to be prepared.
確かにおっしゃる通りですな。運用規定については決済区分の強化などまだ検討したいところはありますが、最悪の事態に対応する準備が必要だということは理解できました。
Indeed, precisely as you say. I'd still like to look into strengthening the rules of approval authority behind applying the plan, but I understand the necessity to prepare our response for a worst-case scenario.
都市沈黙船の研究班にひなみ沢地区沈黙船のシミュレーションをさせましょう。
Let's have the urban suppression research team run a simulation of the Hinamizawa suppression operation in the
これは
region.
至急行われる必要があると思います。
I think we should get it going as soon as possible. How? In the region? How are they going to do that without someone noticing them?
こうしている間にも女王感染者の少女が車にはねられて死んでしまう可能性だってあるのですから。
Kind of seems like becoming the god would mean taking the queen parasite from Rika and then infecting people with the syndrome. I assume that's why she wanted to do surgery on Rika before the last timeline ended. Did she want to do surgery on her? Did I miss that? Maybe I forgot about it, but didn't she just slice her open like in the ritualistic way? And they wanted to give her like a sedative, but they didn't end up giving her a sedative. They just ended up slicing her open like that. I don't think they actually ended up, you know, taking anything from her to, you know, create a new kind of queen, I guess. They do have like that biological weapon that they made, you know, while trying to research it. Wasn't it them doing an operation on her? I think they just killed her in a ritualistic way. They sliced her open with the ritualistic, you know, tools that they have or had for, you know, the Watanagashi festival where, you know, they apparently pulled out people's organs and stuff. There was clear malice behind the actions, yeah. There's no way they killed her that way without, you know, having some kind of evil feelings. Be it towards her or, you know, whatever. I think it was more towards her. Maybe I misunderstood. I thought they were doing both. I think they just wanted to give her a sedative so she doesn't feel pain, but as far as I remember, they didn't want to do surgery on her because they killed her on the shrine grounds. They just took the tools, like the weird little, I don't know. What would you call that implement? I think it was like a hoe, kind of. Kind of. Similar. And they just sliced her open and pulled out her organs for, you know, the ravens, I suppose. The crows to eat. That's what happened in like one of the previous episodes anyway. We didn't see it this time, thankfully. I don't think I could have handled seeing her sliced open again. Yeah, I don't think they did surgery on her. It's possible that the Queen Carrier Girl may be hit by a car and be killed at any moment.
高野さんさ、ありがと
Thank you, Major
う。
Takano.
また質問しますので、着席してくださって結構です。
We have further questions, so you can sit down. Thanks to a push from one of my backers, things were decided without too much of a problem. It took me almost all day to explain it to them, but it only took a short time to come to a decision. Nobody criticized, ridiculed, or tried to reject my grandfather's articles out of hand. And the files they're all reading today are the very same shameful articles those haughty authorities left their footprints on as they trampled them at my grandfather's heart. But they aren't ridiculing the articles, they are reading what was once rejected. It's nothing big at a glance, but in this moment, my grandfather's research is being recognized for the first time. My heart is filled with satisfaction to see people discussing amongst each other, pointing to my grandfather's files and raising them as proof. I've worked so hard for this day. Grandpa in heaven, can you see this? I'm sure he's, proud. Until, you know, you murder an entire village. But, you know, let's try not to think about that too much. Alright, let me save again. You have so many more fragments to go. Alright. Don't have any of this. Still don't have any of that. Kyosuke Iria's Reminiscence. I don't think we had that. Unless you could call his, you know, recalling his past mistakes and possibly regrets and, you know, being determined to keep the project going as reminiscence. I guess we could try Iria's background. Oh, it works. Okay, that did count. I've wanted to become a doctor ever since I was little. Doctors make a lot of money. People look up to doctors. I think those are the kind of reasons I had. So when I played with my friends, I always acted like a doctor. I cleaned their wounds and applied ice packs when my friends sprained their ankles, using what I learned from household medical books. Everyone, including me, believed that I'd be a doctor one day. My family was poor, so they praised me for that goal. They told me that I needed to study a lot to become a doctor, so they borrowed some pseudo-medical books from the local library for me. The rental fees weren't cheap. I would speed read one book in a day, and the next day my parents would go back to the store to exchange it for a different book, saying they accidentally borrowed a book they already borrowed before. By doing so, my parents borrowed 2 books for the price of 1. Of course, now I know those books were rather useless, but they were highly motivational just the same. My neighbors called me Dr. Kyosuke-kun, and I was always picked for class health officer at school. Even my teachers helped me with the classes I needed to take to become a doctor. Of course, in reality, becoming a doctor isn't as easy as it might seem. I had to study diligently, and the path was most definitely rough. To become a doctor, one must attend college. Since my family was poor, I was told I wasn't allowed to go to an expensive private school. So, I had to be admitted to a national public university. My grades weren't bad, but the admission rate to the national public universities is very marginal. Man, this is reminding me of that time that I applied to a medical university, like a private one, and they wanted, what was it, like 27,000 euros per year? Or something like that? It was a very ridiculously high number, and I was like, hell no! And then I was like, looking at the admission rates for like the public university close to me, and it looked horrendous. So I was like, You know, maybe I'm okay. It's kind of insane. Yeah, like the prices that they ask for. Oh my god, I can't even imagine. Having to pay that off is insane. I could never be a doctor because I hate blood. Yeah, me too. I wanted to study psychology. Not that you don't have to, you know, look at gross stuff even if you work in that field, but it's arguably less. Seeing blood IRL in fiction, it's fine. Yeah, I'm okay with it in fiction as well, but like IRL, unless it's like coming out of my body, I'm not okay with it. I'm okay seeing my own blood, like if I cut myself or if I have like a nosebleed or whatever, that's fine. But seeing someone else get hurt, oh, no. I got my associates from a smaller college to save the money of going all years to a bigger university. I don't mind blood, but I guess I would not want to see people in constant pain during all of my life. Yeah, I don't know. People that are able to do that are pretty strong. But yeah, getting to, you know, attend a university that you want to go to is kind of rough. Especially, I don't know how it was back then, but I feel like prices have only gotten, not prices, but like fees, I guess, have gotten more drastic, more dramatic. I feel like 20 years ago, you probably would have gone to the same university that I applied to for way less. Especially since I wanted to go to a medical school, my chances were even smaller. I studied like crazy. My only driving force was my childhood dream of becoming a doctor. The dream of becoming a doctor and to be looked up to by everyone kept me going. And I was admitted. I wasn't at the top of the list, but I made it in. I was finally at the starting point of making my childhood dream come true. My parents were thrilled. Neither my father nor mother went to college, so they were proud of their son getting into a public medical school. They invited our relatives over to celebrate. Although it was a public university, tuition wasn't cheap. That's the word I was looking for. Tuition! But they still had an extravagant celebration anyway. My father didn't express his emotions much. He always kept a straight face. He rarely voiced his opinion or took initiative on anything. My mother took care of everything, and he showed up last and left without saying a word. He was a typical stern and silent Japanese father of the time. That's why I was so surprised to see him shedding tears of joy, and I cried along with him. He went around to all my relatives while repeatedly slapping my back, saying how proud and lucky he was to have a son like me. He bragged about my achievements to all who would hear them. Oh, this is gonna be so sad when he gets kicked out of the field that he was in for, you know, performing lobotomies on people without their consent. The celebration became my farewell party as I was about to leave for Tokyo. My father yelled "Banzai!" repeatedly at the station as the train pulled away. I was a little embarrassed, but when I could no longer see my father, I could clearly recall the tears pouring down. It was very sweet. Days of hellish studying and exams began after that. Some days I was tempted to just give up and submit myself to the lavish lifestyle of the city. But the letters from my family always encouraged me and gave me the strength to go on. This guy has the only supportive family in this game. I swear to you. My dream, then, was to open my own clinic in my hometown so I could contribute to the region. I never even dreamed of getting involved with brains. One day, I noticed a difference in a letter from my family. The letter said the unusual things about how it was at home and asked how I was doing. Oh, I read that so wrong. Okay. But the proscript was what caught my attention. Your father has become really violent lately. Sometimes he turns the house upside down and I don't know what to do. Okay, this might turn out worse than I thought. I just couldn't picture him acting viciously. I was extremely surprised. Something happened? But in the postscript, my mother said that there was nothing she could think of. Mother and father had been together for a long time. They'd been together since, well, before I was born. So she noticed things that I couldn't. She couldn't even think of a reason why my father had become so violent. What happened? They got along so well. They were such a lovely couple. When I caused a problem for my mother when I was little, my father only bonked my head with his knuckle. Why was he acting this way towards my mother? Maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding between them. I was going home for the new year. Maybe I could have had good talk with him then. But the situation was a lot more serious than I thought. Oh. On one cold winter day, I found my apartment door unlocked. I thought someone had broke in, but I found my mother in my apartment with her luggage. That's right. My mother could no longer take my father's fury and came to stay with me. This was back when people still believed in the proverb, a woman has no place to settle down all her life. She couldn't go back to her own family because they lived in the same region as my father, so she came all the way to Tokyo. I heard about my father's violence from my mother's own lips. She cried, saying she had no idea why such a quiet man changed like that. She said she wasn't ever going back to him. I didn't know what to do. I asked her if she could talk to him one more time, but the bruises on her body told me it was no use. To remember what happened afterwards is too much, so I'll be brief. After my mother left, my father thought she was having an affair and went over to the neighbor's house with a wooden sword. He was arrested. Holy! He was released immediately, but he assumed someone in the neighborhood was hiding her, so he did the same thing repeatedly. He eventually reached the point of getting into fights with anyone he saw. In the end, he picked a fight with some young punks and ended up being beaten to death. What? My relatives gave my father a decent funeral, but my mother didn't attend. It's no use beating a dead horse. So nobody said anything negative about my father, but everyone was simply puzzled as to why he changed so much. Yeah, to death! What the hell? That is crazy! It could have been Keiichi if, Shion and Rika didn't save his ass. What I heard from my relatives about my father's final days was a lot stranger than what I heard from my mother. My mother only told me about his sudden rage and violence, but my relatives told me. He also laughed and grew sad. Apparently he displayed several sudden fluctuations of emotion, especially so in his last years. They also told me that he started to complain about headaches after an accident he had. My father was a construction worker. He had hit his head hard on a construction board during an accident at work. He regained his consciousness quickly and seemed fine. But since the accident, he started to have headaches and behave abnormally. I sensed the connection between the accident and my father's changes, so I talked to my professor after I went back to Tokyo. So, how about lobotomies?
断言はできませんが、その様子から入江君のお父さんに何らかの異常が起こっていた可能性は否めません。
I can't say for certain, but it sounds like it's possible your father suffered some kind of brain damage.
その事故の際に脳が傷つき、精神的な変化を起こしたのかもしれませんね。
There's a chance the blow to his head caused an organic mental disorder.
お父さんの晩年の言動からは、そんな患者さんに多く見られるいくつかの症状が伺えます。
The symptoms your father showed in his final years are similar to the delirium and mental fluctuations we've often seen in similar patients. Human behavior is created by the brain, and if the brain is damaged, it can cause erratic behavior. In other words, my father wasn't crazy, he was suffering from a disorder.
お父さんの遺体を検視できるなら、脳をよく調べてみるといいでしょう。
If you can perform an autopsy on him, you should check his brain carefully. Okay, I get wanting to help your family and researching something that is near and dear to you, but I don't think I could perform an autopsy on my family members.
ひょっとすると腫瘍のようなものが見つかるかもしれません。
Maybe you'll find something like a tumor there. My father had already been cremated. Well, maybe it's better that way. That'd be kind of messed up, to be honest. So, there was no way of knowing. But hearing about his behavior, I knew for sure that was the only way to explain why such a quiet and gentle man would change. I tried to explain all this to my relatives to regain my father's honor, but hardly anyone understood. If his brain was damaged, he would have been dead. But he was alive and well, so the accident didn't damage his brain. It wasn't his brain that caused him to change, it was his mind. He simply brushed it off like that. This is the perception most people have about the brain. They don't realize the mind and the brain are connected. Most of the relatives didn't believe me. But there was one person who I really wanted to anyway. That was my mother. As she got older, she grew senile, and she exaggerated the abuse she had to endure. All she did was criticize my father, and every time she ended up crying, lamenting that she married him. They were a lovely couple. They were a great family, and so I wanted to convey to her that she was misunderstanding the situation with my father. My father's behavior was caused by his brain damage. What he did to her was very sad, but he didn't want to be that way. I told her that he wasn't at fault. But my mother didn't understand. Before she took her last breaths, I begged her to forgive my father. Her final words were, "Please don't bury me next to that man." That's kind of depressing. Never mind what I said about him having a relatively normal family. Ended up being fucked up anyway. My father wasn't at fault. He was simply the victim of a brain disorder. You don't complain to a person who's coughing because he has a cold, because coughing is just a symptom, and he should be sympathized with. In my father's case, the symptoms weren't as obvious as a cough. They took the form of changes in personality, which are much harder to recognize. If I had studied the brain more, I could have explained it better to my mother so that she could have understood him. Then they could have been a nice couple again in heaven. When I realized that, I cried. And I also realized that there are plenty of people like my father in this world, who are suffering from a disorder, yet they are misunderstood and despised for it. And then I found out. I found out about a miraculous cure for such disorders called a lobotomy. Ever since that day, I spent my days learning about the brain so I could help people who are suffering from mental illnesses. My father is gone, but if he was still alive, I could cure him myself. Though he and my mother could reconcile. That's the main reason why I'm here. Well, it's, miraculous, yeah. It's, you know, he wants to do something, you know, nice, but the method, I don't know if that's the right approach. It's not what you're thinking. It's not quite ethical. Not quite. Rarely. We don't have any fever. Prior consent for the collection of cerebrospinal fluid is required. We have that. A routine inspection, and I see Tomitake and Takano in her sleigh outfit. I think there's like a level of like childlike delusion to Idia's thinking. A little bit. I think he just wants to hold on to, you know, the memory of his father being a good person, especially since he had that like very connecting moment with him before he left for university. So I think it's like very important to him that, you know, people don't misunderstand him. And like, it's definitely possible that, you know, he could have suffered from something like that, but I don't think researching lobotomies and like going into that field is the best way to, you know, approach that. I feel like it's very, I don't know. It's a little simple-minded. Like, there's other possibilities to research what you're interested in. And like, you have to look at stuff objectively and be like, yep, that's kind of fucked up. You know, altering people's brains, especially without their consent. That's a little messed up. How about searching for the tumor your professor suggested? Yeah, like that can also alter people's personalities. There's so many things that can alter someone's personality. And he chose lobotomies to like, research as a cure. Like, come on, dude. I think there's more to it. This happy and beautiful ass music for something concerning lobotomies. It's so nice, isn't it? You should have tried giving weed to patients first. Honestly, agreed. Think of something else. I don't know. Like, yes, it does seem... I don't know what it was like back then, okay? Maybe, like, when lobotomies first, you know, were discovered or, like, practiced, I guess maybe people were like, whoa, it's having, like, really life-changing, you know, effects on people that have endured a lobotomy. But I don't think they took the time to, like, research long-term effects and also see the ethical conundrum that posed. Someone's acting a bit weird. Rip and tear. Kill him. Life-changing, soul-destroying. Yeah. I think he was just very desperate. And he just wanted to prove it to everyone. It's kind of similar to Takano's situation. In a way, she wants her grandfather's work to be recognized no matter what. And, you know, Irie kind of wants his dad to be recognized as the guy that he saw him as. And so, you know, they both do things that are kind of fucked up out of desperation, really. The lights came on in the meeting room as the slideshow ended and all the auditors began to applaud, praising the Irie institution's dramatic accomplishments.
素晴らしい。実に素晴らしい。
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
本音を言わせてもらえば、私はこのひなみ沢症候群の研究はあまり期待していませんでした。
To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting too much from this Hinamizawa syndrome research. Thanks, dude, I guess.
仮に進むとしても10年単位で3歩進んで2歩下がるような研究になると思っていました。
I figured that even if there was progress, it would be 3 steps forward and 2 steps back every decade.
いやいや、それが短期間の間にこれだけの成果を上げられるとは。入江所長の努力と指導の賜物です。
Oh my, how impressive it is to achieve so much in such a short period of time. This is all thanks to you, Director Irie.
そんなことはありません。
Oh no.
私を支えてくださる優秀なスタッフとそちらの高野さんのおかげです。
This is all because of the staff that supported me, and Takano-san too. Yeah, after she said all those really horrible things to you, I guess that really motivated him. Maybe that was her goal. Maybe she knew exactly what to say to him so he gets a grip. Quote
ご
unquote.
謙遜を。
Wait, does she not have her sleigh outfit? No, I guess she gets it later maybe. Or maybe the thumbnail was misleading. Don't be so humble.
やはり脳に関しては入江所長は天才ですわ。
Director Irie is a genius in the field of neurology.
何しろ脳に関しては誰も及ばない実績をお持ちなのですから。
After all, he's also produced greater achievements than any other doctor when it comes to the brain.
そうですな。
That's true.
あなたと同じ年の医者で、あなたほど大勢の脳みそをご覧になってきた方はおりますまい。
Not many doctors as young as you have nearly as much experience operating on brains.
おめでとうございます。
There he is. Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Irie.
私もこれで東京に胸を張って報告に帰れます。
Now I can go back to Tokyo with my head held high.
富武さんに良いお土産が持たせられて光栄です。
I'm honored we gave you something good to take back with you,
あ
Tomitake-san.
と、ニサというのはご勘弁を。どうしても馴染めませんので。
By the way, could you please stop calling me Lieutenant Colonel? I just can't get used to it. I just noticed how small Irie's head is. Like, look at it in comparison to the other two. Or like his eyes too. They're like so small. They're like half the size of Tomitake's eyes. And Takano's has a huge head. Military uniform Tomitake always takes me out. He looks so different. He's like a totally different person. I just love the vibrant red card that he has. I can't get used to this. He doesn't look like himself anymore.
というか、リサさんって聞こえるんですよね。
I almost prefer Lisa-san at this point.
まるで女性の名前みたいに聞こえますね。
I bet you do, huh?
でも二郎さんも影の立役者ですわね。なかなか成果の出せない私たちの予算を二郎さんが懸命に努力して維持してくださったおかげですわ。
You're sure we're a huge help. You're the one who secured funding for our research, even when we couldn't produce feasible results. We couldn't have done this without you.
いや、
It wasn't any trouble.
でも今回の成果は劇的です。
But really, the results you've presented today are just brilliant.
ひなみ沢症候群の病原体を特定し、今後の研究計画に具体的道筋をつけることができました。
Not only have you found the cause of the syndrome, you've also provided a clear path towards future research.
以後の進捗監査がとても楽しみになります。
Tomitake is so square, that's right. He is, like in all of them. Like, especially this one, he's so rectangular. Like, also his jawline is so... I don't know. Rectangular. I don't know what to say. He's like a box head. Nothing against you, Tomitaka, but like... really a huge box. I kind of like his manga gamer sprite. He has a certain charm. I like his goofy smile. But I kind of love that Rikishi gave him like a different like face shape. He looks very different. Tomitaka is so square. Takano be like, be there or be be square, Jiro-san. Iria reminds me of the Lost guy. Who's the Lost guy? He is built like a truck. I mean, it makes sense, you know? He's a guy from the military. He's supposed to be built like a truck. Comic called Lost. Okay, I'm intrigued. Lost comic. The guy. Oh, that guy. Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, I can totally see it, especially like his hold on. Oh god, wrong button. Ah. Like these sprites where he has like the huge air vents. He does look like that. Is this lost? It is, maybe. I never realized.
これだけの成果があれば、東京はねちっこく予算を削減しろとは言いますまい。
I don't know if I read this. We're looking forward to hearing more progress when we come again next time. I'm sure the Tokyo office will quit bothering us about cutting your budget with these sort of results.
何しろ皆さんにお出ししている缶コーヒーの予算まで削られそうになったんですものね。
After all, we nearly lost our budget for the canned coffee we provided to you all, didn't we? She will never let that go. I misheard Lost has Lost, and I kept thinking, huh? They had a Lost comic book? Nope, not yet. Hello, Space. Hi. Did I miss much? I watched last stream to catch up a bit. We've gone through a few fragments. I will let you know which fragments we saw. I just have to get back to the menu. I can't recall things from the top of my head. Sorry, my brain is ass.
東京にしっかり報告して祝杯が挙げられるくらいの予算はつけるよう愚信してあげなさい。
They should perform a lobotomy on me to improve my memory because it's kind of bad. Tomitaka-kun, make sure you report our progress to Tokyo well enough that they give us enough funding to hold a party.
うちばっかりではいかんね。飴もないとね。
We've been getting nothing but the stick. It's time for the carrot.
その飴は予算で還元していただけると一番嬉しいのですが。
We'll be happiest if that carrot comes back in the shape of funding. And with that, congenial... I don't know what that means. Congenial. Pleasant, especially agreeable. Suited to one's nature, taste, or outlook. And with that congenial atmosphere, our routine audit was over. Iria was surrounded and being questioned by National Institute of Infectious Diseases workers who had joined the auditors. I don't know why that took me a second.
おめでとう。
Takano-san, congratulations.
みんなの前では言えないけれど、今日の成果はすべて高野さんの積み重ねによるものだよ。
I can't really say this out loud, but all the progress I've seen tonight is thanks to your hard work.
ありがとう、ジローさん。
Thank you, Jiro-san. Jiro-san and I are the only ones here who know what strings were pulled in order to create the Idia Institute. So only Jiro-san can understand what I had to go through.
でも、これでようやく研究の舞台に立てたというところね。
But I've only just risen to the stage for my research.
私の挑むべき相手がようやく同じ土俵に上がってくれただけ。
My opponent and I are finally in the same arena, that's all.
正念場はこれからよ。
The critical fight comes after this.
そして、ここからが とも楽しいところになりそうだけど。
And it should be getting even more exciting in the future.
それでね、今回の件で中川本部長の方からぜひ東京で報告会をしてほしいと伝言をことづかってるんだ。
Reverse lobotomy. Let's add more brain matter. Hell yeah, if that helps me. Sure. The stream we've seen how the Idiot Institute informed the food of the family through Rika's mom. Though Rika's mom is very sus about it, we've seen Idiot's backstory and why he feels so strongly about being a doctor. Yeah, we had them talk about why the food of the family is so special and why they had to do research on Rika. That's also how she found out, you know, about the whole project and whatnot. The mom was very much against it. The dad was kind of like, yeah, sure. He didn't really mind it too much. They were gonna... I guess that's what they did. They wanted to extract some... What did they call it? Cerebrospinal fluid from Rika. So that they could examine it. And yeah, they basically just explained to the family that, you know, if they don't help out, the whole village is gonna die. Probably. Maybe. They won't ever find a cure, and they will always be in danger. And Idiot's backstory as to why he got into lobotomies and stuff. I think that's... yeah, mostly it. By the way, Manager Nakagawa told me to tell you that he wants you to hold a presentation in Tokyo.
アルファベットの理事会もぜひ君と会合を設けたいって言ってたよ。
Even the alphabet boards want you to come meet with
みん
them.
な君に直接話を聞いてみたいようだね。
I guess they all want to hear this directly from you.
あらあら、二郎さんを経由した報告じゃ物足りないのかしら？
Oh my, isn't having you explain enough?
いや
So awkward. Oh.
そういう意味じゃないとは思うけどな。
I don't think that's what they mean.
きっと噂の美人研究員を直接見てみたいんじゃないかな。なんて。
I bet they want to meet such a pretty researcher in person, maybe.
あら嫌だ、二郎さんたら。
My, aren't you being silly, Jiro-san? Goodness gracious, get a room! Ew!
失礼します。
Mountain dog. Excuse
高
me.
野さんさ、東京からお電話です。
Major Takano, there's a phone call for you from Tokyo.
お待たせしました。
Yeah, that was very funny. I love Tomitake, he's so dumb. Mountain dogs to the rescue. Well, rescue. We'll think about that word for a bit. Thank you for
高
holding.
野です。
This is Takano.
おお、元気にやってるかの？
Hey, how are you doing?
小泉先生、
Ah, she lights up. Koizumi sensei.
わざわざお電話をいただけるなんてとても恐縮でございます。
Thank you for taking time to call me.
いやな、みおちゃんの研究が大金星を挙げたという話が来てな。
You know, I heard you made such a significant breakthrough,
お
Mio-chan.
祝いを言おうと思って電話したんだ。
So I had to call to congratulate you.
ありがとうございます。
Like her personality just switches like that when she talks to Koizumi for some reason.
はい、おかげさまで研究の第一段階であり、最大の目標でもあったひなみ沢症候群の病原体特定に成功しました。
Thank you very much. Yes, thanks to your support, we've been able to accomplish the first step of identifying the microbe that causes Hinamizawa syndrome. Oh my god, my nose is so itchy. What did they discover here? Gosh. Was it... whoa. Sorry, let me go back. I'm like... Because we also learned that... we already knew that, you know, if the queen carrier dies, that they would have to kill the whole village. I'm not sure if that's what they mentioned here. I think they're just celebrating the progress in general, not anything specifically. So the other thing was in a different fragment. So we also learned of the moment where they came up with the contingency plan for if, you know, things failed and everyone got to the L5 stage of the disease. But that didn't happen this time. It's just general, you know, celebration for progress. Also, hello Nixoni and hello Kuro. Welcome in, both of you. Hope you're doing good today. I think I read that.
そうかそうか。ついにやったな、みおちゃん。天国で高野くんもきっと大喜びしているだろうの。
I see, I see. Great job, Mio-chan. I'm sure Takano-kun is very happy in heaven right now.
まだまだですわ。祖父はひなみ沢症候群の病原体特定などという段階を超えて研究していました。
That's a little too early to say. My grandfather was attempting to go beyond merely identifying the cause of the syndrome.
人の
I guess
思想
the
や
cause
意
of the
志が
syndrome.
実は人以外の寄生的存在によって支配されていた可能性。
His work was about showing the possibility of human thoughts actually being controlled by parasitic agents in our bodies.
それを暴いて初めて祖父の研究は偉業と称えられるのです。
Only when that is proven will his research be recognized for the great achievement it is.
世界中の思想や宗教が全て寄生虫で説明できたなら世界はひっくり返るくらいの大騒ぎになるでしょうね。
And we're able to explain all thoughts and religions with parasites. The world is going to be tossed into chaos. Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe in the world of Higurashi.
それは愉快だの。
How interesting.
偉そうに振る舞っとる宗教家連中が単なる寄生虫の親玉に過ぎんと立証されたらそれは本当に愉快だろうの。
How interesting. I can just imagine how those religious big shots will react once they found out that their leaders are parasites. How interesting. Yeah, every single one of them.
ぜひそんな愉快なのを見せてくれ。
I would love to see that. It's kind of funny because their own organization is kind of like a cult. It's kind of weird like that too. It's you could almost call this a religion. You know, I don't know. Wanting to strongly believe that every single thought and religion and like cultural belief is tied to parasites in the human brain. I feel like that's a kind of cult / religion / belief itself, ironically.
みおちゃんがそれを見せてくれるまで私は天国のお迎えを断り続けてるからな。
I won't die until you show that to me, Mio-chan.
縁起でもありませんわ。でも楽しみにしていてくださいね。
Please don't say that. Do look forward to it, though.
きっと世界中があっと驚く発表をしてみせますから。
I'll make sure that this research will spread shock throughout the world. Oh, it did spread
そ
something.
の時に初めて世界中が祖父の偉業を知り、祖父が残した資料を奪い合って読み合うことになるでしょう。
Because like Koizumi isn't completely buying it, but maybe he is that crazy. He did fund all this, so I think it's also like a lot of guilt that he felt, you know, for having built up so much hype for Takano's grandfather and then destroying his heart, basically not even showing up, being so, you know, dejected, I suppose. But I think he just wants to, you know, make up for that, and also maybe he believes in it a little bit. Maybe it just serves his own purposes. I only believe in the religion of Oyashiro-ism, Oyashiro-sama-ism. Okay, but there's gonna be an ad break in, I'm guessing, a couple of seconds. It doesn't tell me. So I will be right back in 3 minutes. I'm back. Wow. Thank you, Skip, for everything. I drank, I stretched, I definitely waved, I head patted myself. Thank you. Hope you're doing good today. And thank you. Welcome back to you too. Yeah, Space, I agree. I feel bad for her, and I do kind of want her to succeed in, like, getting her grandfather's work recognized for something. Like, I don't want all of their hard work to be for nothing. But the things that they're doing to reach that goal and, like, you know, what happens at the end clearly is fucked up to all degrees. Like, if they somehow changed their ways, if they didn't do, like, live experiments on people, if they didn't, you know, make a hole in a child's skull and, you know, extract cerebral spinal fluid and, you know, killed an entire village. Maybe then I would feel happier about them making advancements. I don't know. I feel like it was definitely part of their plan to actually help out the village, even if it meant doing some unethical things. But somewhere along the way, that goal clearly changed, and I don't know why, but it's kind of messed up. No ethics whatsoever. They're taking the fast route, murdering people and destroying families in the process. Yeah, to be fair, that one guy probably would have ended up killing himself or more people, so they probably just would have turned him into the police. And then he would have probably killed himself in prison, so I guess I can see how you could justify killing that guy. But also, you have to ask for consent. I don't know, it's still messed up, even if the reasoning is possibly good or okay. But it is very messed up. I have this feeling that they're also the ones who killed Rika's family in the end. But we'll find out, you know. I'm guessing that at some point they were very, very against having more research done on Rika, and maybe that's where they killed him. Or not just him, but, you know, also the wife. But I think the guy was murdered first, and maybe then she disappeared or something. What may happen to Satoko, Iri and Takano most definitely have a hand in what happened to her brother. True, for sure. I'm sure that they did research on him, and I do not look forward to possibly seeing a fragment like that. But let's just imagine that no such thing happened. Anyway, what was she talking about? I'll make sure that this research will spread shock throughout the world. Then the whole world will finally realize how great my grandfather was, and they'll be fighting each other to read over the documents he left behind. Only then can I say that I've repaid my debt to him. I'm a little envious of Takano-kun. I don't want money, you know. I don't mind getting rid of half of what I have. Only a rich person could say this, by the way. I just wish I had a grandchild who would carry on my legacy. Thank you so much. Those words mean so much to me. Do they? Do they? I don't know. Considering this guy is like playing a massive role in getting everything funded here, and he like gave her a bunch of money too, I think his words don't carry that much weight, but you know, let's just convince ourselves that they do. By the way, I sent you a present. It's a nice bottle of wine for you to celebrate with. I didn't know your address, so I sent it to the clinic. However, they told me they're having a difficult time importing it, so it may take a little while, but when it comes, please have a party with the people who helped you. Celebratory wine? Well then, I wonder what expensive sort of drink Koizumi-sensei will be sending us. Oh, it's not that kind of expensive. Don't you remember, Miyo-chan? Takano-kun used to keep a particular bottle of wine. I remember. That's right. My grandfather kept a certain bottle of wine. I don't know if he bought it himself or if someone gave it to him, but he treasured it, and he always said he'd open it when his research finally gained recognition. I was a child then, so I don't remember what brand it was, but Mr. Koizumi would know. He went through all the trouble to find the same bottle of wine for the special occasion. For the first time in a while, Takano felt the same sunny warmth she experienced during her time with her
あり
grandfather.
がとうございます。小泉のおじいちゃん。
Thank you very much, Uncle Koizumi.
やっぱりミオちゃんにはそう呼ばれた方がしっくりくるの。
I like it when you call me that, Mio-chan.
どうもミオちゃんに先生と言われても自分のことだと思えなくてな。
I don't feel like you're speaking to me when you say Koizumi-sensei. Wahahaha. I can't help but smile along with him, because I think Tomitaka and Irie were just having a similar exchange.
そう呼ばれる方がお好きでしたら、人前以外ではそう呼んでも結構ですわよ。
If you like it that way, then I'll be happy to call you that when there's nobody around.
できれば人前でもそう呼んでもらえると喜ぶんだがの。
I'll be happier if you call me that even in front of other people. I don't know exactly how old he is, but if he can laugh so energetically, he'll live for many more years to come. I guess the saying about living a long life is true after all.
私も高野くんもミオちゃんのような子が本当の家族だったらと思うよ。
Takano-kun and I both wished you were truly a part of our family.
本当にな。
We really did. My grandfather had his own family, of course, but because he was so into his research, he became estranged from his wife. They were legally married, but they lived separately. I didn't even know he was married. I never met his family when I was a child. I only met them after my grandfather committed suicide. He did what? During his latter years, my grandfather went into psychological despair and began to look at his life with cynicism. His condition became worse over time, and he was shocked at his own dementia. He was afraid of living while his consciousness degraded. So, he jumped off the rooftop of the hospital! Only my name was in his suicide note. None of his family members' names were in it. That's when all his relatives showed up and took everything my grandfather left behind. They were afraid I was going to get his estate. They had lawyers and all that, so I backed down. I asked for everything in his study in return. Those idiots don't understand the value of my grandfather's research. They were actually happy to strike a deal out of court, and they could also get rid of the piles of papers and jars with human organs in them. I didn't expect that for some reason. They never even showed up once when he was still alive. Yet, like hyenas, they appeared after his death. I never let them put their hands all over my grandfather's research. Fortunately, I was able to protect my grandfather's soul from their tainted hands.
それでは長くなると悪いからこれで切るな。困ったことがあったらいつでもおじいちゃんに頼りなさい。
Okay, I'll get going here. If there's anything you need, be sure to call Uncle Koizumi, okay?
孫娘のためにいくらでも一肌脱ぐからの。
I'll do anything for my granddaughter.
ありがとう。小泉のおじいちゃん。ミオはもっともっと頑張りますね。
Thank you, Uncle Koizumi. I'll work even harder. Disgusting bunch of people. What kind of family is that? That's kind of messed up. I'm so sad that that's, how he died. I generally was under the impression that he just died of old age, but I mean, I did have like a suspicion that, because he was so heartbroken about, everything bad that had happened, that, he would maybe do something like that, but it was never explicitly said, so I was kind of shocked at the way they just dropped it on me out of nowhere. It was kind of sad. Anyway, saving. Rest in peace, Takano, who didn't do fucked up shit. He was part of a fucked up organization, but at least he didn't, experiment on live people. He had human organs for some reason, human brains and stuff, but... I have a sense because distrust of the mother of a queen. I have a feeling that because, you know, Rika's mom got highly suspicious of the whole clinic and their research, that she ended up getting them killed because she was so vocal about it for good reason. I guess he died of assisted old age since he was in a state of degeneration. I mean, assisted old age. He jumped off the roof. I don't know if I would call that assisted old age. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I guess. Like, he wasn't in his right mind anymore, but still, that's kind of fucked up still. I'm guessing, you know, his heart past didn't make it any easier. And, like, his loneliness, because, you know, she was like, oh, he was so lonely and stuff. I forgot to turn up the volume, by the way. I mean, he missed his only real chance, and the people he sought funding for made him out for a fool. He was doing alright. He said to himself that he had the disease, but if you had sound mental health, you can live with it. I mean, to be fair, like, when you get older, your brain kind of, you know, turns against you a little bit, so I think it happens to a lot of old people, you know? They end up being a little careless. Maybe they do stuff like this on purpose, or maybe because, you know, their mental state has deteriorated to the point where, you know, they think this is the right way to do it, and it's kind of sad. What I meant was euphemistically, yes, is he killed himself because he was old. Yeah, I think it definitely played a part that he, you know, was of old age. Did I save? I'm gonna save just in case again because I'm not sure anymore and I don't want to mess up. All right. Results of the research on C103 and 107 are required. I don't think so. I'm unsure. Shirakawa Park accident. Shirakawa Park. I don't think we have read that. Don't have that. Death of Koizumi. Oh, he dies? Okay, well, he was old. The death of the dam construction site manager is required. The old guy. Well, that happened. He died. Probably after, you know, they did research on him. Wait, no. The manager was the guy they killed. The construction workers. He's already dead. He's been dead. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the right words. I can only sigh.
Oishi-san. 探したんすよ。
Oishi-san, I've been looking for you.
課長から手配写真の
The section manager asked me about the wanted poster.
静かにせい。
Be quiet.
ここは騒ぐ部屋ではないぞ。
This is a place of rest. Tsukumagai barged into the room. The old coroner quickly snapped back at him.
すみません。
Sorry.
ですね。課長が容疑者の手配写真について。
The section manager asked me about the wanted poster for the suspect.
それ、小宮山君に相談してくれませんかね。
I'm also remembering Edie was the coach of the batting team Sadako's brother was in, so you must have known what might have been happening to him. Yeah, they knew that he was in distress. Like, I think he even talked to, like, Shion about it when we were, like, playing through, what was it, episode 6? Yeah. The Hinamizawa fighters. Can you talk to Komiyama-kun about that?
ちょいと私、じい様と話がありまして。
I need to speak to the coroner here.
すぐに上がりますと上に言っといてください。
Could you tell him I'll be right over?
わかりました。
Okay. Well, I mean, the guy who died was also Oishi's friend, no? Kumagai ran out of the autopsy room with the same haste he entered in.
賑やかな男だの。
Lively, isn't he?
おやさんだったらやかましいって言ってげんこつの一つも食らわしてるところです。
Would have slapped him for making such a fuss.
お前さんも 少し上に戻った方がいいぞい。
You probably should go back
こ
too.
この空気は慣れんやつには合わん。
The air in here isn't for people who aren't used to it.
そうですね。
You're right.
あんまりサボってると私もげんこつを食らっちまいそうです。
If I slack off too long, I might get slapped as well.
獅子骨界隈じゃチンピラも避けて通るお前さんをツモの切り方が悪いとげんこつを食らわせてきたのは後にも先にもこいつだけだったの。
Here in Shishibuna, all the hoodlums cross the street when you pass through, but he's the only one past or future who's ever punched you for splitting your tsumo wrong. What is tsumo? Is that like a mahjong thing? They only ever talk about mahjong, so I don't know. Sumo? Okay, looking it up. Oh, Sumo Japanese Mahjong Wiki. I think it is related to Mahjong.
容赦のない人だったな。
He really was a merciless man.
本当の親父よりげんこつもらった気がしますよ。
I think he punched me more than my real father. Man, even Oishi's had it rough.
本当も嘘もないわい。
Doesn't matter if he was your real one or not.
お前さんが本当の親父だと信じてたならこいつも本当の親父だ。
If you looked up to him in the same way, then he really was a father to you. That's a rough thing to drop on this guy too, but I'm guessing, you know, times were different back then. Probably wasn't that uncommon for people to lash out in, you know, physical abuse towards their children, unfortunately. My real father passed away in Nagoya. He was unlucky. He wasn't given the order to move to a plant in Nagoya. He wouldn't have died in an air raid. Well, it just gets more depressing the more we read. If you could have rode it out another half year or so, then the war would have been over. I was sad, of course, but I was grown up enough by then that I didn't cry into the ground like my mother did. But people feel sadness in different ways. For some people, it comes all at once as an overwhelming wave, but others feel sadness gradually, over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only thought of him as annoying. In my mind, I even cursed him with questions about why he avoided the draft. I thought my feelings towards him would always be the same. Then the war ended. As I saw families and friends being reunited with joy as they came home from the front, it finally happened. I grieved for my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and full of despair. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life ended up that way. But I remember I was very, very heartbroken. After the war, the nation completely changed. As a policeman, the environment I worked in went through sudden changes too. In order to forget my sorrow, the only thing I could do was devote myself to my work.
当時、私は闇米の取り締まりばかりやらされてましてね。
At the time, I was in charge of busting people for buying rice illegally.
鉄道主要駅で旅客を抜き打ち検査するんですよ。
I conducted spot checks on travelers at major train stations.
そりゃもうゾロゾロ引っかかりましたっけ。
And boy, did I find a lot of them.
僕らのあたりはこの辺じゃかなりでかい闇市が立ちましたからね。大阪界隈からはるばる買いに来てる連中も大勢いましたよ。
There was a fairly big black market in Gogura, and a lot of people came from as far as Osaka to buy it. After the war, Japan faced a chronic shortage in food supply. To those ends, the nation instituted a food rationing program by signing the Food Control Act. But the rations in the government provided weren't even close to being enough to feed families. Therefore, people had no choice other than buying food and supplies on the black market. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there were somehow plenty on the black market. The dealers there sold it at outrageous prices, and some of them became quite wealthy. The Sonosaki family made their money through that black market, but that's another story. Oh my god. He just has more and more reasons piling up for hating that family. But yeah, isn't that the whole thing about the canned meat? The suspicious canned meat? I still don't know if they really did, you know, fucked up things like selling human canned meat. Like, so far, every bad thing we've heard about the Sonosaki family ended up being not that bad, mildly bad, slightly fucked up, but nothing to the degree of, like, what we've heard about them in rumors. government didn't bother arresting these dealers, for with their money, they were able to buy off the top members of the police department. Instead, they decided to go after the people buying the goods, and even confiscated the rice they bought by selling everything they owned. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death?
皮肉な事件もありましたね。
Yeah, there was.
闇米は一切食わないと公言した判事が餓死したのが昭和22年でしたっけ？
The prosecutor who vowed not to eat illegal rice starved to death. Wasn't it in 1947?
ひどい話でした。
That was horrible.
法律に従ってたら生きていけないことを法の番人である
That is
裁
awful.
判官が自ら示したんですからね。
The human meat thing only happened that one time? Sure! A public prosecutor, proved it himself that people couldn't survive by adhering to the law. That prosecutor had grown tired of the government charging people with doing whatever they could to survive. And he proclaimed that he was never going to buy black market rice again. In 1947, he starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. The law prohibited people from buying black market rice. That was the only way to survive. In that case, was the Food Control Act a bad law itself? The death of the prosecutor was seen as a desperate message to the government about the unjustness of that law.
米の袋を抱えた連中を次々と引っ立てて駅脇の臨時の検問所に並べましてね。
We rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point next to the
ま
station.
るで戦時法廷みたいな感じなんですよ。
It was like a military tribunal. Oh my god. What is a tribute? Blah, 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 blah. Is any person or institution with authority to judge? Oh. Just like lining people up in the military and like screaming at them, that kind of stuff. These historic details, I think, were real things that took place, right? This is very specific. I'm sure that this was a thing that happened. I mean, you know, I don't know if there really was a guy that starved to death, but I'm sure that there were... It sounds believable enough, but I'm sure that stuff was, you know, hard after the war.
次々ポンポンと没収して引っ取られていく感じです。
They inspected their bags and confiscated everything that they bought at the black
ご
market.
婦人方みんな泣かれるんですよ。
The women all cried.
その米を買うために彼らは家財を売り払ってるんです。
They sold everything they owned to buy the
そ
rice.
れを没収されたら何も残らないと。
They pleaded that if we confiscated the rice,
どうやって飢えた子供たちを食わせればいいのかと。
how would they feed their starving children?
道理だな。
Doesn't make sense, huh? But they forbade you from going after the sellers, so it was absolutely unfair from the view of the people.
皆さんも敏感でしてね。
Everyone was on edge.
駅で検問があるかもしれないと察知すると、途中で列車から飛び降りたりして
Oh my
逃
god.
れるんですよ。
If they heard a police inspection was set up at the next station, they'd jump off the train and run, potentially also killing themselves in the act. Probably based them off real incidents. Yeah, I'm not taking everything that he says, you know, literally, but I'm sure that something akin to what he says here happened.
そういう連中も逃さんと、私たちは駅近くの飛び降りの名所に重点的に警官を配備しましてね。
We were aware of these people, so we set up several officers near jump-off spots in order to capture them.
何十キロもある米袋を抱えたご婦
Jesus.
人をよく追っかけましたっけ。
I remember chasing after women carrying several kilos of rice on them. That was when I first met the old
い
man.
やー、驚きましたよ。
Hello, Noel! Hi, hi! We're doing good today. Man, I was surprised.
私の親父にね、
Remember my father?
あまりにもそっくりだったんですよ。
He looked exactly like him.
私はね、てっきり親父は名古屋の空襲を奇跡的に生き延びて帰ってきてくれたんじゃないかって本気で思いましたよ。
I really thought that maybe my father had miraculously survived the air raid in Nagoya. I was chasing a man who was running away from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice on him. So either he'd get arrested with the illegal rice or escape by ditching the rice that he bought by selling all of his belongings. In other words, if a person is being chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. Of course, I felt guilty about that. I knew people had to buy the rice to survive. So we had a tacit agreement to let those who ditched the rice and ran get away. So I always thought the same thing as I chased them. Please throw it away. I didn't want to catch him, because I didn't want to hear him crying and pleading in distress. It was then that the old man showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded, and all of a sudden he punched me in the head. If a father disciplines you as a child, you lower your head in apology. I was so happy to see my father alive that I couldn't hold my joy in. The old man said, "Let him go." When I heard his voice, I realized he wasn't my father, so I thought I'd arrest him for assaulting a policeman. But a young man like me, who'd barely grown any hairs yet, was no match for an older man used to fighting.
いや、たっぷり説教をもらいましたよ。
Yeah, he sure taught me a lesson.
大通りの真ん中でぶちのめされた挙句に。
He gave me a good scolding in the middle of the street after I was all beat up.
普通に考えたらそんなのに耳なんか傾けないですよね。
Who'd even listen to him, right?
でもあの時の私はどうかしてたんです。
But something struck me then.
どうしてもおやっさんが親父に見えちゃって。
I kept seeing my father in him.
おとなしく言うことに耳を傾けることしかできなかったんです。
All I could do was listen.
まあそこで小づいただけじゃなく、男の器量もきっちりと見せられたのがこいつの大したところだったの。
Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed his guts like a real man. That's what made him such a great guy.
今時じゃすっかり珍しくなっちまった。古き良き時代の生き残りじゃった。
You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example of a man from the good old times. Alright. There we go again with, you know, the whole being a man thing. Despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed someone to look up to, and to show me what makes a man a man. When I think about it, I really did have two fathers. The old man was a father, a brother, and my best friend. But now, here he lies with his head, body, arms, and legs all dismembered, and his right arm hasn't been found. Well, that's kinda... Now it's even more sad and messed up than before. He taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy alcohol, how to play mahjong, and with that right arm, he gave me a good beating when I did something wrong. But that right arm is still missing.
星の目星は
Do you have any suspects?
ねえ、もちろんついています。おやつさんの右腕ももちろん取り返しますし、この借りもきっちり返します。
Yeah, of course. I swear I'll find the old man's right arm and pay them back for what they've done to him. They're running Hinamizawa from the shadows and inciting this collective crime they call the dam protests, the Sonozaki family. This is where he started hating them. I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. The Sonozaki family. The damn Sonozaki family. Wish his voice is softer. It is. He was sad, you know? It's kind of rare to see him, you know, display actual genuine emotions where he isn't being silly and trying to act tough. Kind of heartbreaking to see him like that. Like, the death of his friend was already sad enough, but the fact that he saw his father in him... Oh, break my heart, why don't ya? Declaration of war from Kurado Oishi is required. Execution order for the 3rd year's curse is required. I don't think we have that yet. Don't have that. Bottle of wine for a toast is required. Jiro Tomitaka's promise is required. The draft of an emergency manual is required. We have that. A roll of a 1. Jiro Tomitaka's promise is the thing about, you know... Is that the thing about meeting up to take photos and looking at birds? Never mind, it's not. We don't have that. Whoops. What else do we have? Pikan Satoko's shopping, we don't have that. Rocket, we don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have that. We don't have that. Ryugu families, we don't have that. We don't have that. Hojo's awareness of his sin. We don't have that. We don't have that. What capsule is required? Strawberry milk candy. We don't have any of this. The revenge of Mio Takano is required. Revenge? I don't think we have that either. Reading schools, we don't have that. Game board, we don't have any of this. Fragment from the Onikakushi chapter is required. Sumi Horoboshi. Nagashi. Onikakushi. Was Onikakushi the first one? We might have that. Yeah, that's the first one. We could try this one. Fragment of Tsumi. Think showing up and saying domo domo isn't an emotion? I guess it is. Damn, this is kind of hard. Oh no. Wait, I meant to load. 6-7. Oh, I didn't. Was that the page I was on? Hello, Shavix. Hi. Good morning. I hope you're also doing well. I don't know. I don't know what that means. God, I've come to a point where I don't know what to do. Satoko Hojo's detailed test result. We don't have that. Hospitalization of Satoko Hojo. We don't have that either. Third year's curse of Oyashiro-sama is required. I'm pretty sure we don't have that either. Because mother's suspicion is required. Death of Satoko Hojo's aunt is required. An execution order. The third year's curse is required. I don't think we got that. Thank you for the 1 bit. I've never, I swear, I feel like I never hear that sound alert. Shirakawa Park accident. I don't know. I guess we can try this. Oh my god, I feel stupid. Am I missing something? Completion? We don't have that. There's no fevers that were mentioned. Satoko Hojo. We have had barely anything regarding Satoko. Discontinuation of Satoko Hojo's dissection plan. That wasn't even discussed. We have Kyosuke Iria's motive to become a doctor. Death of the construction site manager. Hospitalization of Satoko Hojo is required. We haven't read anything about her being hospitalized. Third year's curse of Oyashiro-sama. The first one was that construction site manager. The second one, what was that? Wasn't that Rika's parents? And then the third year was Satoko and Satoshi's aunt. No, wait, I'm missing Satoko's parents. Oh, was that the third year maybe? Oh god, I guess we can try. Maybe it is. Nope, it isn't. I forgot the order of them. I'll be sure to have you here more often. That's okay. Once every now and then is enough. I'm so sure that this is fulfilled though. Because they mentioned that, you know, her father was being called an opportunist. And Rika's mother is suspicious of like the things happening. Maybe, no. But I'm pretty sure I've met the requirements for that. Am I going crazy? I'm pretty sure that one we have the requirements for, but it keeps telling me that I can't do it. Aunt hasn't died yet. Not as far as I know. Execution order for the 3rd year's curse is required. Bad to death. Completion of the medicine. Were they celebrating the completion of the medicine? Death of Koizumi Sensei. He didn't die yet. We did try this and it didn't work. We didn't have the shopping trip. Didn't have that. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the one that we're missing right now. Because everything else is like all of this we have not had. And like this is kind of, I don't know. Maybe it was the completion of the medicine. They didn't name the name of it. Never mind. I don't understand. Everything else isn't met either though. Huh? Rikishi, please. Maybe it's one of the ones that are like pretty obscure here. Or is this like... Oh, 7 fragments are required. I think we might have 7 actually. 1, 3... Yeah, we have 7. Okay, fragment of Matsuribayashi. Hello? Am I going insane? 7 fragments are required. My guy, I can count. This is more than 7 fragments. Or what? Is it exactly 7? Don't mess with me. What the fuck? I feel like I'm going insane. I'm just gonna try this. I'm just gonna try all of them, whatever. What? I must be missing something. I'm so certain that this one is something that we have already fulfilled. We did that. Declaration of war. Well, that isn't it either. No one was beaten to death yet. That didn't work. This hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. Self-introduction. We did try this too. Didn't work. Oh! Wait, this one we can do. Hold on. I'm pretty sure that that one, because they did have like a little fight. Didn't they? Like during the town meeting, they had a fight. Yes! Oh my god! Okay. Goodness. There's really only one that we can do. I ran into Satoko while on my way to the grocery store for my mother. Satoko said she was going there too. So we decided to go together. Okay, so now we have the shopping trip. After exchanging our shopping lists, it became easy to guess what the other family would be having for dinner. Satoko's family is having grilled fish and cooked vegetables. We're having Salisbury steak. My, that sounds so very good. She cracked the code. I thought that it was more like a conflict between the town members and not just the Sonozaki and the Ojo family, but I guess, yeah, I guess it kind of was.
私、魚はともかく煮物というのがちょっと怖いんですのよ。
I don't mind the grilled fish, but it's the vegetables I'm less fond of.
先日買ったかぼちゃがまだだいぶ残ってるみたいなんですもの。
I'm certain there's still plenty of pumpkin left from the other day.
きっと今夜もかぼちゃの煮物三昧なのです。
Then I bet you'll be getting a lot tonight.
かわいそうかわいそうなのです。
Poor Satoko.
あらかじめかぼちゃが出てくると分かっているのも憂鬱でございますわね。
I don't appreciate knowing that pumpkin is going to show up on the dinner table.
はあ、みー、突然かぼちゃを出されても怒るくせに贅沢なさとこなのです。
You don't like pumpkin no matter how it shows up.
リカにだって少しは嫌いな食べ物があるはずですわよ。
Rika, you have some food you're not fond of, don't you?
そういえばリカ、大福とかシュークリームとか甘いものが嫌いだったんではございませんこと？
That's right. You don't like daifuku, cream puffs, or anything sweet, don't you? That is kind of messed up. That's all delicious. Especially daifuku. That's so good.
別に嫌いではないのです。
It's not that I don't like those
意
things.
地悪で食べないだけなのですよ。
I just choose not to eat them.
食べる気なら何個でも食べられちゃいますのです。
If I wanted to, I could eat sweets forever.
パンプキンパイだって美味しくいただけますのですよ。ニパー。
I could even eat pumpkin pie too. I've heard like the nipa sound so many times because like people do little videos where they just play it over and over and over and over and like layered on top of each other too, and it's like, oh my god, I'm going insane. And now it's like burned into my brain, and every time I hear it, which isn't very often, it reminds me of those videos. But isn't Rika like not eating the sweets so that she can kind of, you know, keep in check with Hanyu? Because or keep Hanyu in check rather. Because, you know, Hanyu wants her to eat sweets, and, you know, she can use that to her advantage when, you know, arguing with her, I guess. Yeah, torture Hanyu. Something like that.
リカだけ好き嫌いがないなんてずるいですわ。
Ooh, it's not fair that you aren't a picky eater. Conversations like this are how I have fun. Satoko is my best friend. I usually don't like grocery shopping, but if I'm with Satoko, I can make it into an enjoyable evening stroll. I hate grocery shopping too. It's interesting that they call pumpkin kabocha. I know for a fact that there is a type of pumpkin in Brazil called kabosha. I think it's an offshoot on the Japanese pumpkin. Might be, yeah. I feel like you can buy some pumpkins that were imported from Japan here too sometimes if you're lucky. Near the supermarket there's a grocer's and other shops forming a little shopping district. Grocers? What the fuck is that? Like a grocery store? Is that like short for grocery store? The grocery store is busy this time of day. All the housewives in Hinamizawa gather here to shop. Since Satoko and I have different things to buy, we decide to do our shopping separately.
いらっしゃいいらっしゃい。おや、リカちゃま、お買い物かい？
Welcome, welcome! Oh, Rika-chama, are you shopping for your mother?
偉いね。
What a good girl. Hello, Klaus. Hi, hi. We're doing good today.
ニパー、僕はお買い物ができる偉い子なのです。
I'm a good girl who can go shopping by herself.
そうかそうか。リカちゃま。
Okay, I don't want to say that
偉
again.
いこのご褒美にこれをあげよう。
Here, I'll give you this. There were several candies from the owner's occasional asthma attack inside this a sieve full of change hanging in the front. For the owner's occasional asthma attack? Does that help with asthma? He picked out a sweet from there and gave it to me. It was my favorite flavor, strawberry milk. I put it in my pocket so I can brag about it to Satoko later. I got a lot of fun out of teasing Satoko and making her jealous. She always overreacts, so I never get bored when I'm with her.
おや、リカちゃまのところは今日は何だい？
Oh yeah? What are you having for dinner tonight, Rika-chama?
豚のひき肉だと。
I like this guy's voice. Ground pork.
ハンバーグなのですよ。
We're making Salisbury steak.
お花の形の目玉焼きを乗っけてケチャップでお絵かきをするのです。
We're gonna put flower-shaped fried eggs on top and draw pictures on them with ketchup.
それはいいね。
That sounds like fun. I enjoyed that conversation while filling my shopping basket. But then I overheard some woman whispering, some whammon. I realize that I'm saying women wrong. I always say women. I think that's wrong. I think you're supposed to say women. I'm trying to improve that, but it's kind of hard to think about that. They're talking about something that's a little harsh. They're talking about Satoko. How long do those village traders plan to stay here? They should just leave. They don't even have the guts to go shopping themselves and make their daughter do it instead. The women went on and on. Ever since the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family got into a huge fight at the explanatory meeting for the dam project, the Hojo family has been ostracized within the village. At first, there were a significant number of families in favor of leaving, like the Hojos, but the main branch of the Sonozakis led a push to completely solidify the village's opinion, and as that tone of unified resistance grew stronger, the pro-evacuation family steadily grew quiet. The public harassment led by the Sonozakis and Kimiyoshis, two of the three families with powerful influence on the village, also played an effect too. The Sonozaki family made the Hojo family into an example to ensure there would be no more pro-evacuation supporters. The ancestors of the village have lived here for generations, and the villagers also know that they themselves will be buried in this village, so this harassment put a lot of pressure on them. Who was it that agreed to make the Hojo family the leader of the pro-evacuation group at the explanatory meeting? Those same people no longer said anything, and they even joined in on harassing the Hojo family. The harassment they faced then became pressure from the entire village. The Hojo family is hardly wealthy, and they haven't paid the town council fees in a long time. And things were peaceful, nobody said anything about it. But now that the wind was blowing a different way, the Hojo family was asked to pay off all their late council fees immediately. They have council fees? Like for what? What are they paying fees for? Women? Yeah, it's more like women. I always read it wrong. I don't know why. When I read or when I hear people say women, I think of whammon, and then it becomes a little silly to me. But I know that that's the correct way to say it. Not whammon, but women. It wasn't an amount they couldn't afford, but the Hojos recognized a fight was being picked with them, and they responded to it. And so the Hojo family quit the town council. That only played right into the village's evil plan. Making an enemy of the town council meant facing vicious harassment. For example, the place the Hojos dumped their trash was a provisional dumping site established by the town council and the waste management department. Under the council agreement, only council members could use it. Ever since the day the Hojo family quit the village council, the trash bags were returned to their front door. Furthermore, all the bags were torn. That's fucked up! On top of that, a sign went up on the hedge road near the Hojo family. It said, "Private road, no trespassing. Only council members permitted." A stubborn old man stood and guarded the road, saying that he would not let any of the Hojo family members pass through. A private road is private property, opened up to the public, so it looks just like a normal road. However, as private property, the owner can forbid anyone else to pass through whenever they like. More and more, the village piled on vicious harassment. The fear of antagonism spread throughout the entire village, and people became afraid that if they supported the Hojo family, they'd go through the same thing. This has made the Hojo family even more isolated. The grown-ups haven't told their kids about what's going on, so Satoko isn't harassed in any way at school. It wasn't hard to imagine she probably spent her days feeling so anxious she could hardly breathe. Awesome. Add to her PTSD. Women. Even the women whispering in here aren't saying anything directly to Satoko, but it's not like she doesn't notice their muttering and the cold stares. When did this village become so cold towards her? As her best friend, it's very sad for me. Satoko's shopping experience is nothing like mine. When I say hello or buy things, I usually get treats for a discount, but that doesn't happen to Satoko. On the contrary, she's served last on purpose, and sometimes shop owners even pretend they don't hear her. Obviously, people don't want to have anything to do with her. Man, she's just a kid! That's fucked up! Like, I get the conflict. Yeah, I understand you're mad and you don't want to have any trouble, with the Sonozaki family, but man, this is too far. Hello, Mika. Hi. You're doing good today. Satoko had been weaving through the housewives crowding the shop, telling the fishmonger what she wanted, but she kept getting ignored. She's decided to keep her smile and pretend she doesn't mind, but I know. It was far too painful for her to endure. At that point, Satoko dropped her coins on the ground. Maybe her fingers got stuck on something when she was trying to put the change back into her wallet. I ran through the crowd to help her pick them up. But as I did, I noticed something. Satoko dropped a lot of coins and is struggling to pick all of them up, but nobody is helping her. It's not just that, it's almost like they're acting like they don't even see her there. Satoko isn't expecting anyone to help her, since she's the one who dropped them. But there are so many people around. Not even one is trying to aid her.
さとこ、僕も拾いますですよ。
Satoko, I'll help you.
大丈夫ですわよ、リカ。
I'm okay, Rika. That reaction is all I need to tell how hurt she is. Furthermore, when I started to help Satoko, other housewives started to pick the coins too. As if it's the natural thing to do. So they can only help if a shrine maiden of the Furuta family does. If I didn't help, they would have disregarded her completely. And the fact that other people helped only because I did hurt Satoko even more. I grabbed the coins from the housewives without thanking them. I'd rather spit at them than do that.
ありがとう
You
ござ
should
いま
have
す。
spit at them! All I'm gonna say is that I get Keiichi wanting to bash Orio's head in Minagoroshi. She was an asshole. I just think that, you know, the harassment towards Satoko? Kinda too much. I think even like ostracizing the family, even if you had a conflict with them, I think that's too much. It's bullying. Bullying is wrong. Don't bully people. That's fucked up. Don't do that shit. Maybe I don't feel so bad for the village's fate anymore. I mean, people were afraid. I don't think everyone here is to blame. I think some people are assholes. Some of them are just genuinely afraid and don't want their family to be in the same position. It's a sucky situation caused by one old hag.
Rika.
Thank you very much, Rika.
皆さん、
Everyone. If she didn't thank them, people would talk about that too. Satoko forced out her words of gratitude. The housewives looked down at her with blank expressions. Can't stand this. Can't stand what Satoko is going through right
お
now.
買い物が終わりましたら行きましょうです。さと
If
こ。
we're done, let's go, Satoko.
ええ。
Sure. I grabbed Satoko's arm and pulled her away. I was frustrated, sad, and bitter. What has Satoko done? Reality is just too cruel. Everyone loves me. But can I share that love with Satoko? Satoko must be wondering why people treat me so differently. I shouldn't come shopping with her. Or rather, I should have done her shopping instead.
さとこ。なんですの、リカ。
What is it, Rika?
小銭をばらまいてしまって、かわいそうなのです。なの
I feel bad that you dropped your coins.
で、これはさとこへの残念賞なのですよ。
So here's something that'll make you happy. I wanted to at least ease her pain a little bit, so I pulled out the strawberry milk candy I just received. But Satoko refused to take it.
その飴はリカがもらったものではありませんの。
That candy was given to you. My hand froze. She saw me getting this candy.
渡した人だってリカに食べてほしいと思って渡したんですわ。
That person wanted you to eat it.
だから私が食べたら失礼ですわよ。
So if I did, it'd be rude. Satoko turned her back on me and kept walking. Without even saying goodbye, she continued on to her house with the shopping bags in her hands. I only wanted to ease her pain, but I ended up rubbing salt in her wound. How can I call myself her best friend? If I could, I would have crushed the candy right there. Oh, this is really depressing. It never gets better. Think I should just fake curse those people, they'll go mental? Honestly? Yes, she should. Curse them! All of them! Okay, let me see. What else can we read now? Well, we can read strawberry milk candies require Miyazonozaki. Didn't we get something else? Self-introduction of Satoko Hojo. What does that mean? Self-introduction. I don't think we got that. Shopping trip is required. The Shinto priest contacting the Iri institution is required. Contacting? I mean, he had contact with them. Would I call that contacting them? I don't know. Mion-san! Your friend is here. I heard the housekeeper's voice. Our house and the front yard are huge, so unlike normal houses, ringing a doorbell or yelling my name repeatedly asking to play won't work. Okay, thank you.
どなたです？
Who is it? Higurashi-chama.
あー、来たね来たね。ばっちゃにリカちゃまが来たって伝えてもらえます？
Oh, finally! Can you tell Granny that Rika-chama is here?
多分あっちの縁側にいると思います。
I think she's on the porch.
私はスイカを引き上げてきますね。
I'll get the watermelon. Granny received many beautiful watermelons from somebody, so she wanted to share. I just called the foot of the house a short time ago, and Rika-chan is here to pick one up. Did she come on her bicycle? I can't remember if it has a big enough basket. I pulled the watermelon from the well while thinking about that. From the well? I'm associating bad things with her basement and wells and whatnot. Hello, Rebel. Hope we're doing good today. The cold water in the well has refrigerated the watermelon, and the condensation makes it look delicious. The 3 members of the food of the family will enjoy it for at least 2 nights.
お持ち帰りだったのですか。
Am I supposed to take it home?
僕はてっきり。
I thought...
あれ？おじさんそう言わなかったっけ？
What? Didn't your dad tell you? The priest answered the phone and I thought I'd told him to come pick it up. Maybe I wasn't clear enough, or maybe he misunderstood me completely. But she's here to eat the watermelon, not to take it home. Besides, the small basket on Rika-chan's bicycle won't hold the watermelon, and it's too dangerous for her to ride it while holding it in her hands.
ミオン、お前リカちゃまんちまで超持ってったらな。
Mion, why don't you help Rika-chama take the watermelon?
スイカ片手な自転車なんこがれんて。
There's no way she can ride her bicycle while carrying it.
みー、僕だってスイカくらい持てますのですよ。
I can hold a watermelon.
危な危な危な。
But it's not dangerous for a Mion. No, that's too dangerous.
リカちゃまに何かあったら、お社様に申し訳立たんね。
If something happened to you, I wouldn't know what to say to Oyashiro-sama.
うちのミオンが運ぶんね。任せたったら。
Mion will help you.
はいはい。任せられたったら。
Okay, I will.
じゃあついでに神主さんにご挨拶でもしてこようかね。
I'll go say hello to the priest too. No matter whether she rides or pushes her bicycle, Rika-chan's hands will be occupied. So I'm going to carry the watermelon. The sky is turning auburn in the sunset. Cool breeze feels good on my sandaled feet. The plastic bag I'm carrying contains the watermelon, and also some small bags of rock candy. If her mother finds them, she'll take them away, so we decided to eat them before we got her home. We opened the bags and enjoyed the rock candy. Rika-chan isn't an exception. Whenever kids from our neighborhood come to our house for errands, Granny gives them some treats. Actually, that's a pretty common rule here in Hinamizawa. It's funny, but sometimes when parents aren't watching, siblings will fight over who gets to take the circular notice to the next house over. So these bags of rock candy are like tips for them. Of course, she doesn't normally give out this much. Usually it's just a little piece of it. Granny is being extra nice to Rika-chama.
僕だけこんなにいろいろお駄賃をもらうと、他の人に悪い気がしますです。
I feel bad getting all this candy. I guess she could share it in class and stuff like that. Also, I just saw that there's gonna be an ad break in 40 seconds. So, we'll keep reading after another ad break. I'll be right back. I'm back. I'm so ready. I feel like we're making pretty good progress, but because of the fragments, I feel like we're gonna play this episode a little bit longer than the other ones. Because I think it has the same amount of chapters as the previous episode. But, well, playing or reading a bajillion fragments will, of course, drag it out a little bit. Thank you for the wave.
別に気にすることないんじゃない？おだちんは好意みたいなもんなんだもん。変に断るよりは子供らしくありがとうって言って笑顔を見せる方がよっぽどいいと思うけどね。
Don't worry, Granny loves you. You just thank her and put a big smile on your face. That's all.
みーはおだちんをよくもらいますですか？
Do you get lots of treats?
昔はね。
I used to.
でもさすがにこの年になったらもらわなくなったな。
But at this age, they don't give me any.
今もらうとなんとか子供扱いされてるみたいで、かえってカチンとくるかな。なんてね。
If they did, though, I'd probably feel like I was being treated like a little kid. Me. They're pretty unique structure when compared to the earlier Higurashis. I actually don't mind it. I'm a little surprised that this will drag on for a little bit longer. Drag on seems like a negative thing to say, but it'll take a little longer to get through. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I kind of enjoy piecing together the fragments, even if I'm a little dumb and I struggle a little bit with it and take a little longer than I probably should. But I actually don't mind it. It's kind of fun. It's like playing a detective game, even though I'm not figuring anything out, really. I'm just putting the puzzle pieces together by reading the hints, the very obvious hints.
僕は子供扱いなのです。
Meep, I'm being treated like a child then.
いいじゃん、いいじゃん。
That's okay.
もらえるうちにもらっとけばいい。
Enjoy it while you can.
私くらいになれば欲しくてももらえなくなるんだからさ。
When you become as old as me, you won't even get any, even if you wanted some. As we talked about ordinary things, I noticed Rika-chan seemed a little sad. What's wrong?
僕はお買い物に行ってもよくおだちんに飴をもらいますが、
Whenever I run errands, I get candy as a treat.
さとこは一緒に行ってももらえませんです。
But Satoko doesn't get any even if she comes with me. And it's kind of heartbreaking how Rika always thinks about Satoko. I mean, I know that they're best friends, but you know, she's like constantly on her mind and it's really sweet and really heartbreaking at the same time. I can think of so many reasons why. Not only Satoko, but everyone in the Hojo family is being treated poorly in Hinamizawa. And the Sonozaki family are the ones who instigated that. The two dam supporters have died in an accident already. The malice against the Hojo family is still going. Wait, what? Wait, who? The two dam supporters? Who's that talking about? The construction worker? No. Because we didn't... I mean, we know that her parents die, Satoko's parents die, but they haven't yet, not during the fragments. So who exactly are they talking about? It's directed against Satoko and Satoshi, their children. Wait, they already died then? Oh, I guess I didn't realize that they had already died because it wasn't mentioned in a fragment. Last time we had a fragment about Satoko and Satoshi, it was, you know, about Satoko having pretty severe PTSD and struggling to accept her. Oh no, I'm silly. No, we had the fragment about her killing her parents. Never mind. I remember now. It's all coming back to me. My mind suppressed it because it was traumatic. She killed her parents. I forgot. I'm sorry. I remember now. She killed them. Yeah, there was a fragment that suggested, you know, we had the red text, which we also got when Rena was freaking out. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot about that. I just remembered. Yep. My bad. It's directed against Satoko and Satoshi, their children, and the aunt and uncle who are taking care of them. The big fight between the Hojo family and the Sonozaki family at the explanatory meeting started all this. But that was the Hojo couple and shouldn't have anything to do with the children and their aunt and uncle. I don't know. I guess since they didn't mention them moving in with their aunt and uncle, even though I knew that was going to happen after they died, it didn't click in my brain that they were dead. And that was you know, one thing crossed off my list, I guess. Oh. With the idea that the Hojo family are traitors evolved on its own. Therefore, anyone bearing the Hojo name is to be treated poorly. The aunt and uncle weren't dam supporters, so over time, the attacks towards them should have stopped. But they're rather odd, and they keep having trouble with their neighbors. Well, I guess why? I wonder why. Definitely not because of a certain, Teppei. No. He's totally normal. Also, I forgot to adjust the volume. They don't follow the community rules, they don't do their community duties, and they don't spray pesticide while their neighbor's laundry. And they do spray pesticide while their neighbor's laundry is still hanging outside. Well, that's kind of fucked up. They often get into fights with the other villagers. They'd be hated even without the dam. Therefore, the Hojo family continues to be treated poorly. But none of that should have had anything to do with Satoko and Satoshi. Satoko and Satoshi are often depressed at school. I try to leave the conflict between the two families aside, but I wonder how they really feel about that. From their point of view, I'm just another member of the family that keeps harassing them.
せめて学校にはそんな雰囲気を持ち込ませたくない。
Both of them are garbage if I remember correctly. That's true. I just keep thinking of Teppei as somehow worse, but that's right. We didn't see a lot of the abuse the aunt was involved in. Aunt? I never know how to say it. Not aunt. She's not an aunt. She's an aunt. Yeah, but she was also pretty heavily involved, which is why Satoshi kills her, you know. She was actually the main instigator. Teppei kind of joined in or got really bad after she had already died. Everything about Satoko and Satoshi makes me so sad. It's literally the most depressing thing in this game, in my opinion. Shion found out what Takano thought that one time. Shion found out what Takano thought that one time. Satoshi. Oh, yeah. Didn't she, like, kind of, you know, nudge him towards killing her a little bit? Darn ants. Is aunt not pronounced like ant? Maybe it is. Maybe there's different ways to say it. I keep saying it like ant. Maybe it's fine like that too. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. Oh, I need to go back to school and learn English. Hello, An. Hi. Hope we're doing good today. It is nice to see you. Some say aunt, some say aunt. It's an accent thing. Okay. I'll continue saying both and confuse you. I don't want any of that at school.
だから私はそういう風に振る舞ってるつもりだよ。
That's why I try to be their friend while we're there.
それを学校の中だけでなく外にも広げるにはどうしたらいいのですか?
How can we get that to extend outside too, instead of staying in the school? You have to scream at Oryo and threaten to murder her. That's what it'll take. That'd be pretty difficult. The Hojo family made enemies of the three families. We're branded as traitors, and that's still considered the truth. It wouldn't mean anything if one person suggested an end to the hostilities just because the events on the dam are history now. On the contrary, that would just put them in the same position. Unfortunately for Satoko and Satoshi, the only thing they can do is wait patiently until the issue withers away. All I can do for them is provide an oasis until that day comes.
では、聡子たちはいつまで耐え忍べばいいのですか?
So how long do they have to wait?
わかんない。
I don't know.
ダム戦争は数年に及んだ。
The dam conflict lasted for several years. I think if no one says anything, they will never change. I need Keiichi here. Thank you for the hydrate. Also thank you for the posture check. I was slouching a little bit. I just picked up my bottle thinking that it would be really heavy. And I lifted it up so high because it was like so light. I barely have any water left. It's a little surprising.
その時に押された烙印を払拭するんだから、それと同じ年数はかかるかもしれないね。
They were branded back then, so it might take years to clear that up too.
それはつまり、聡子たちが大人になるまで誰にも許してもらえないということですか?
Do you mean they won't be forgiven until they become adults?
さとこが子供のうちはずっと村中から冷たい目で見られていろということですか？
Will Satoko have to live out her childhood going through that?
それはあまりにも辛いね。
That's pretty miserable, isn't it?
みー、僕たちはさとこやさとしの仲間なのですよね。
We are their friends, aren't we?
そうだよ。私にとってだって二人は友達だよ。
Sure, they're my friends.
仲間だよ。
We're all buddies.
なら僕たちの仲間を救うために僕たちに何かできることはないのでしょうか？
Then isn't there something we can do to help our friends?
私たちに何ができるんだろうね。
What exactly can we do? Even if the Sonozaki family declares that the dam conflict is over, the Hojo family are no longer outcasts, that won't solve the problem. It's not that simple. I kind of loved the fade to the sunset. That was kind of beautiful. And the music and everything. This is kind of a vibe. 2 more hours. You got this, Hero. It's almost the weekend. In the first place, Granny hates the Hojo family and won't suffer their name to be mentioned in her presence. It's not a matter of someone forgiving another. It's a matter of very complicated ties between the people in this village. It's absolutely terrifying to have them as your enemies. Everyone knows that very well, and that's why they maintain good relationships with their neighbors. However, if you make an enemy out of them, you'll have to face the consequences. That's the unwritten law of the Japanese community. And the Sonozaki family is a part of this unwritten law. Not that the Hojo family are outcasts, not even the Sonozaki family can overturn the situation.
ひなみ沢のことはひなみ沢の人間にはどうしようもないということなのでしょうか？
Mion is very scared of Oryo. I mean, for good reason, you know, she knows what she's capable of. Has seen her own, wait, no, has it happened already? It hasn't happened yet. Shion is still going to get her nails ripped out, but, you know, I'm sure that... Oh yeah, didn't Mion also get her nails ripped out? Maybe that has already happened. I mean, she's a scary lady. So even if it's an issue of Hinamizawa, we couldn't do anything about it as Hinamizawa residents?
悲しいけど、そういうこともあるかもしれない。
Unfortunately, that's probably so, yeah.
もし、里子を救う人が現れてくれるとしたら、それは、村のしがらみにとらわれない、そういう人なんだろうね。
If there is someone who can help Satoko, that person must be someone who has nothing to do with the village. Cute Keiichi Maebara. So complicated, they both had a wild shouting match and the family just shamed them to the point only Satoko was left alive, and even still they kept making her life miserable. Yeah. It is quite bad. It was quite bad. I kind of wish that, you know, Rika, you know, she did quite a few loops. I feel like she probably figured out that Satoko was affected by the Hinamizawa syndrome pretty quickly. I kind of wish that she, you know, when she was still able to go back to the very beginning, you know, before the festivals even started becoming like a regular thing that they did, that she could have gotten Satoko some help from the clinic, you know? Maybe they could have been able to treat her if, you know, they... Oh god, actually, maybe that would have been a bad idea because they are just looking to run experiments and, you know, improve their medical advancements. But, like, maybe it wouldn't have gotten to the point of Satoko killing her own parents, and maybe their situation would have been better. It's interesting how Rikishi frames this. Hinamizawa is such a tight-knit community that it can only be broken by someone who didn't grow up in it. Yep. It's a little frightening. Also, is my stream still up? Or did it just die? I think my stream died for a second, didn't it? It's back now, though. I think I turned on the disconnect protection, so it didn't fully die. I think my chat died though. My chat is gone. It is gone. I can't read it anymore. Connecting to chat. Okay. It did die. It did die. Only a second. What did you say like a minute ago? That I kind of had wished that Rika would have gotten Satoko some help before she got to the point of killing her parents. I think that's what I said. I'm alive. Yeah, sometimes my internet connection gives in for like a second. But I turned on the disconnect protection, so it's all okay now. It doesn't kill the stream entirely.
でも、そんな人、村にはいない。
But there's no one like that here. Not yet.
村の外から誰かが助けに来なければ救われないということですか？
Are you saying someone from the outside has to come help her? Like Rika-chan says, would a knight in shining armor from the outside world ever come here? Would that person bring in new wind into this village that has been filled with stale air for hundreds of years? No way. That's just wishful thinking. Time will solve the problem someday. Until then, I have to be her ally. I can't think of anything else I can do for them. As Rika-chan and I crunched on our rock candy, we can only pray that people will forgive Satoko and her family sooner rather than later. Rika-chan gently broke the heavy silence. Oh, it's deep voice Rika.
Eh?
I know.
きっと村の外からしがらみにとらわれない人がやってきます。
I know someone who has absolutely nothing to do with the village will come here from the outside.
そうだね。ダム戦争も終わったんだから、また分譲地に外から人が引っ越してきてくれるといいね。
That's right. The dam conflict is over, so it'd be great if more people moved into those lots that are for sale.
近い年の転校生とか来れば楽しいだろうに。
Wouldn't it be fun if a family with a kid our age moved in?
来ます。
He will come.
きっと。
I know.
そして彼と力を合わせて私たちは村の悪兵を打ち破るのです。
And we'll break this evil practice alongside him. I just started wondering, you know, if people get affected by Hinamizawa syndrome, if they're in Hinamizawa, and they kind of want to be close to the queen parasite, does that mean that Keiichi's dad wanted to move to Hinamizawa because he met Rika and Hanyu? Because, like, he saw two kids who were definitely Rika and Hanyu, and, you know, he maybe was, like, so enthralled by them, or, like, hit with Hinamizawa syndrome in such a way that wanted to make him move there. And so, you know. Kind of feel like this makes Keiichi a bit too heroic for my liking. Yeah, it makes him out to be like the hero of the story, which he definitely did some things to help, you know, them break out of the loop, out of the cycle, break their fate, rip it in half. But I think, you know, by encouraging them, he made other people do great things too. And it's not just him, it's everyone. It's a group effort. Question is, how did he see Hanyu? Because even back then, she was still a figment for other people, unless some insane lore gets revealed about her. Well, we did see the opening, and she definitely wasn't see-through anymore, or at some point she wasn't see-through. So I guess we'll find out why sometimes people can see her, and sometimes she isn't even see-through anymore. Break out of their cycles of guilt. I guess so. He didn't break Rika out of it for sure. Which is really good, because she was then able to break Hanyu out of it.
それが私たちの未来を閉ざす3つの錠前に対する最初の鍵。
That'll be the first key to one of the 3 locks that have us trapped in the past.
え?
She's so confused. She's like, what the hell are you talking about?
何それ?
What's this?
なんかの小説?
Are you talking about a novel or something? Rika-chan says some odd things sometimes. When she talks that way, she seems so mature. I even start to doubt she's really younger than I am. The unreasonable antagonism towards the Hojo family. Will there really be someone from the outside who will shatter our old traditions? Keiichi Maibara! Where's the explosion sound? Where's the glass breaking sound? Where's the Keiichi Maebara sprite? Just in the darkness. With the black screen in the back. Where's that? Rukishi, you missed the epic entrance. Well, the Ryugu family didn't move yet. So Shihoju's awareness of his sin. The couple also did not die yet. Conflict between the Hojo family, we have that. I don't think we have the self-introduction. Also, I gotta save before I forget and mess up, and then I have to cry. Don't have the fever. Koizumi is still alive. Execution order for the 3rd year's curse is required. We don't have that either. We did that already. Jericho Park accident. I still don't know what that is. Hospitalization. That hasn't happened yet. None of this has worked in the past. So I'm doubting that it'll work now. Shopping trip. Shinto priest contacting the idiot institution. Rock candy. Satoko Hojo's detailed test result. We don't have that. I think these are a little harder to get. Is it this maybe? Shinto priest contacting the idiot institution is required? I don't know what they mean by that. I don't know in which way he has contacted them. He was contacted by them. And then they set up the examination for Rika. I feel like the translation maybe is a little misleading sometimes. It makes it a little harder to figure out what is actually the next fragment. Or maybe I'm just a little silly. Maybe. Boom. Ichi shows up in a post-credits scene like a Marvel movie. That should have happened. The gathering place inside the foot of the shrine is in fact the headquarters of the Onigafuchi Guardians. Normally, a shrine should be a calm and quiet place, but there are anti-dam signs everywhere, making it very obvious what this location has become. There are over 30 members of the Guardians here at the moment, and they are having a heated conversation about their plans for the future. Although this meeting place is on the foot of the family's property, it's a community facility, so it closes at 9 p.m. Of course, sometimes the discussion gets so heated that it goes on past closing time. The meetings are supposed to end by 9. If a discussion ends early, they usually chit-chat until that time. That's what usually happens. Of course, they mostly talk about the dam, even when they chit-chat. Talk about someone's mistreatment at the government office, or someone getting arrested unjustly, or complain that people at the dam construction site are too violent. Since it's idle chatter, the topics are slightly emotional, and because of that, there was a good deal of bad-mouthing the Hojos.
そしたらさ、回覧板捨てちゃったとか言い出すんだよ。
And she threw the circulation notes away. What are circulation notes? A document request by a bank to its foreign correspondents to pay a specific sum of money to a named person, like the council fees? Probably best to check each fragment's names and use those as reference for the ones required to view a fragment, I think. Okay. I will try to keep that in mind. Because I keep forgetting the names for the fragments that we've already read, but that might help.
普通に考えてそんなことするかね。
Can you believe that?
あそこの奥さんはさ、ちょっと勝ち気が過ぎて攻撃的なんだよ。この間もさ、ゴミ置き場で牧野さんとこのばあさんとすんげえ口論してて。
That woman is crazy. Just the other day, she got into a huge argument with Makino-san's grandmother at the trash pickup.
だいたいなんていうかね。本当に粗暴だよね、あそこのご主人は。
You know, the husband is rude too.
理性がないというか。
He's so irrational.
ああ、お前さんは地元説明会の時を見てないのかい？
Did you see him at the explanatory meeting? So I guess this is before the dam project ended and while Satoko's parents were still alive?
ありゃすごかったよ。なあ。
That was bad, huh?
あそこまで言うからにゃ、もう村にはおれんよ。
I can't believe they're still here.
さっさと出てけばいいのにさ。
I wish they'd just leave.
金がもらえないのどうのこうの。
He said something about money.
浅ましいったらありゃしないね。
He has absolutely no shame.
いやいやいやいや。
This is about Tepe and the auntie, I think. But wasn't that after the dam conflict ended?
理性のなさで言ったら、あそこの奥さんも相当なもんだよ。
No, no, no. If you talk about being irrational, his wife is the same or even worse. Because I'm like struggling to understand if these are in chronological order. Because if they are, this would be about Tepe and the aunt. Oh, I don't know. Maybe
そ
it
れ
is.
でやっぱり遺伝なのかしらね。
It must be hereditary.
あそこのお嬢さん、買い物によく見かけるんで挨拶するんだけど、向こうから挨拶は絶対に返さないのよ。
I see their daughter shopping quite often, so I used to say hello to her, but she never replied. Can you believe that?
だから私たちバカバカしくなっちゃって。以来、見かけても知らないふりしてんだから。
So I got tired of it and I don't say anything to her anymore.
それ言ったら、あそこの坊主もいつも暗そうな顔してるよな。
Hey, their son always looks so depressed, doesn't he? Oh god. How could he? How could he? How could he be depressed when he's being abused at home? Goodness gracious. They were looking for the bank books of Satoko's mother and father. I guess so. Wait, I went too far. Isn't the circulation note like the little fee thing for the council? I don't think it said anything about them looking for the bank book, but I'm guessing that they were probably. Title of this one was called The Priest's Depression, so it must have not been that long before he and his wife died. Yeah, it's like right before he mysteriously gets sick, and then he dies, and then his wife dies as well. I forgot how she dies exactly. I think she just disappeared, didn't she? I have trouble keeping it apart from the Hojo death. By now, the Hojo family has become the enemy of the whole village. Bad-mouthing the Hojo family was the greatest shared topic that anyone could easily contribute to. If he had known how powerful the three families were, especially the Sonozaki family, and if he had known Oryo-san's character, he wouldn't have said the things he did. The Hojo couple are residents here. Though they were never very enthusiastic about the council activities, they should have known what kind of person Oryo-san is. He could have imagined just what would have happened to him if he talked to her that way. Yet he let his anger take over and voiced his unpleasant feelings. So most people think the Hojo family brought their isolation upon themselves. If they wanted to negotiate with the government regarding the move, they should have done so privately. Yet he was so foolish enough to express himself at a public gathering like that. So not too many sympathize with the Hojo family. Ever since the big fight at the explanatory meeting, the Sonozaki family has looked at the Hojo family as their enemy, and started to go after them. That caused the other pro-Dam families to go quiet, fearing they'd be made into scapegoats too, and those who wanted to leave were bitterly forced to give up. Even those people started criticizing the Hojo couple, saying they could have gotten their compensation to leave if the two hadn't picked that reckless fight. Both the anti-Dam and pro-Dam people hate the Hojos now, and the family has become even more isolated. Moreover, the Hojos are both very aggressive. They should have stayed quiet at least until things settled down, but they didn't. That alienated the handful of people who took pity on them as well, so nobody says even anything to them. All of that was immediately obvious by listening to the foul talk here and here and there at the gathering place. Rika always helps out by putting the teacups away, so I'm sure she hears what they say as well. One of the Hojo family members they're bad-mouthing is Rika's friend, Satoko-chan. It hurts to think about what Rika feels while hearing that. As priest at the foot of the shrine, should I let this continue? Aw, man, he was thinking about his daughter's feelings, man. This guy did not deserve to die. She goes missing, but they ruled it as suicide because they found a note and I think shoes from her. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was it. And they assumed that she went into the swamp. Oyashiro-sama is a god who makes peace between enemies. When the humans and demons fought, Oyashiro-sama descended from heaven and mediated between both sides. As the caretaker of this shrine, I must do something before it goes too far. I'm sitting next to Oryo-san, who's spitefully disparaging the Hojo family. So that ass was talking shit to me. Who the hell cares?
あんの裏切り者には絶対親代様のたたりが下るんで許されなかといな。
She'll be cursed by Oyashiro-sama, that's for sure. The elderly people cheer her on as they listen to her speak. If I barge in now, I have a feeling it won't be a peaceful conversation. But I have to make up my mind. As the priest of the foot of the shrine, also for the sake of Rika's friend, Satoko-chan.
お嬢さん、北条さんの悪口を言うのは、そろそろこれくらいにしませんかね。
He's a real one. Oryo-san, don't you think you've said enough by now?
なんね何倍よりおるんかいな。
What the hell are you trying to tell me?
いや、北条さんもそんな悪気はなかったと思うんだが。
Well, I'm sure Hojo-san didn't really mean what he said.
あまりいつまでも尾を引くのはかわいそうだと。
Isn't it a bit much for this kind of treatment to go on for so long?
しゃらしんね。おめあれを聞いちゃどんなすったらんわんとね。
Shut up. You heard what he said, didn't you?
なあ、しゃらし。
Weren't you pissed? He pissed me off.
しゃらし、しゃらし。
Shit. Oryo-san is the head of the Sonozaki family, the heir to the demons. She never forgives anyone who stands against her. There's no way she would even listen to what I'm trying to say. Oryo-san and the others became furious and refused to listen to me. I also mentioned that the dam construction plan will be cancelled soon, so they should calm down already. So this is before it was cancelled. My goodness, okay, I think this is about her parents actually. This is a little bit confusing, but they're like talking about the guy who yelled at her during the meeting, which was Tatoko's dad. Orio's like, I'm not mad, don't tell anyone I'm mad. She's so mad. All I would say is to leave the children out of the treatment. Yeah, because like they haven't done anything wrong. They're children. They don't get to choose who they live with, whose family they're a part of. I said that because the staff at the Idia clinic told me that the government is putting some kind of pressure on the Ministry of Construction. But thinking that I'm being an opportunist, soon criticism of me began to circulate the room. After that, I realized that I've become branded as a fence-sitter. If the demons are willing to listen, then there's a chance to make peace. How can I make peace with people who refuse to listen? I destroyed their mood, so I just have to give up and shut my mouth. And I felt a little hand on my back.
リカか。もう遅い時間だから家に戻っていなさい。
Rika, it's getting late. Why don't you go home?
私たちがいくら努力しても届かない。
No matter how hard we try, we can't reach them. Rika looked into the distance while she spoke.
このよどみ切った村の悪兵は、そのよどみに住まう私たちにはどうしようもないのかもしれない。
The evil of this corrupted village is probably beyond the means of those of us living in that muck.
でも、希望をなくすものか。
But I won't lose hope.
今にきっと、こいつらを打ち破ってくれる人がやってくる。
Surely, someone who will destroy the stagnation will arrive.
今に、きっと。
Very soon, I know. Her eyes shone as if seeing a future that only the maiden of the foot of the shrine could see. She's so cool. She's so epic. I love her. Okay, I think we made some pretty good progress. We don't have that many fragments. Don't look at this page, but we don't have that many fragments left. I feel like we cleared out a good amount. Oh, these are gonna take me a little bit longer to get to, but yeah, we got through some. I don't think we're even halfway there, but you know, we're closing in on the halfway mark. Maybe next time we can get there. But yeah, thank you for being here. It was really fun. I'm really enjoying going through this. Though the thumbnails are kind of misleading sometimes because, you know, it displays stuff that isn't gonna show up. Like, we had, oh god, which one is it? This was this one. Routine inspection. Takano didn't show up in that outfit. I feel scammed. But yeah, let me see who I can raid today. Who is live right now? My mom. Kobe is still playing. Am I gonna be spoiled? No. I think this fight we've already done. She's playing Silk Song right now. And I think she's an Act 3, but she's doing a fight that we've already done, I'm pretty sure. And if we haven't, well, I wouldn't know any. Anyway, it looks like one that we've already done. So please go cheer her on. I think she'd appreciate it. She's a gamer. Cheer her on for that. You said that the priest one took place before the parents died, but weren't they making fun of Satoshi's depression? I'd assumed that depression was after the parents died. Didn't the father also start abusing Satoko, you know, after he got nicer? He then got, you know, ostracized by the village, and then he got pissed off too, and then started abusing her actually? Wasn't that like a thing, unfortunately? It might be that depressed him, you know, and the pressure of trying to be a big brother and, you know, be responsible for taking care of his little sister and stuff. But yeah, thank you for being here, Amadis, Space, Trace, Aeolus, Austin. I appreciate it. I will be playing Paper Mario on Sunday, and we'll play the usual stuff next week, and we'll also play something with someone next week. You'll see when I post the schedule. Okay, the timer is running out. Goodbye. Have a good time zone. Bye bye.